Epling. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the European Technology Network. Welcome back to ETM. What a time to be live. It's Thursday, 7th of May, 1 minute past 11. Good friend Luke here, adjusting the headphones. Boy, have we got a show for you today. Before we get into that, I want to tell you about our friends over there at Airwallex. Leave our data business banking behind with Airwallex. It's the all-in-one financial platform built for the pace of modern businesses. It's currency accounts, corporate cards, expense management, online payments, all in one platform. Go to airwallex.com. Let me tell you about the docket that we got lined up today. So to open the show, we've got Olsen, co-founder of Dune. They are the on-chain data platform for enterprises. He drops a little retweet the other day of the guest announcement with a bit of an LFG going on. He's going to be joining us. We'll be opening the show at 12. Very excited to have him. We've got Jeremy Epling, CPO at Vanta, calling in live from VantaCon after Matt. Following that, we've got Martin Tschammer, head of security at Synthesia, also calling in live from VantaCon. It's a VantaCon party over here at ETN today. Just shortly after, Fredrik, Hjelm, founder and CEO of Void Technology, but more recently, as of today, co-founder of PIT. 16 million from A16Z. We're going to be talking about this AI product manager as a services. It's ringing tones against what Julian Beck mentioned, where the next 1 trillion software company will be a services firm masquerading as a software firm. Very excited about that.
He just posted a thing, actually. It was actually quite a nice, he was like, today we're launching PIT. No, he just did like a really nice kind of summary. Now I can't find it. Don't worry.
We'll get it from the horse's mouth when he tunes in live.
We will.
Medhi Rais, following that, co-founder of Davis AI, 5.5 million pre-seed from Hardcore and Bolton AI dropped yesterday. They are doing the AI real estate agent. They're sorting out that big mess that everyone hates to deal with. Following that, Lawrence Lundy-Bryan, returning guest, general partner at Cloudberry VC. We're talking memory stocks. We're talking why they're flying. We're talking semiconductor VC investing. Following that, another return guest, the one and only James Lowe, co-founder of Ethos, just raised 22.75 million from A16Z and GC and Atlantic Capital.
Can I say that I called it? Because I did say when he came on the show, when he left the show, I said, whoa, if we had a fund, I would drop my whole fund into that company. Yeah, and guess who backs them? A16Z does. So you know.
Really good. Those guys are killers. Can't wait to welcome James back to the show. And a huge congratulations is in order. They're on an absolute tear. They're adding 35,000 users a week. People are earning tens of thousands of dollars using Ethos. We've already
future
discussed.
Of work.
Yeah, essentially.
We're going to call it again. I've called it. Future of work.
Boom, right there, called it. Following that, to close out the show, Matthijs Rijlaarsdam. I'm
huge
butchering the pronunciation there.
We'll
Apologies. We're really excited for this one. Co-founder and CEO of QuantWare. They've just done 178 million Series B. As we know, quantum is hitting up right now. We're going to be digging into the Rais. He's got a few great takes, including Larry Fink's recent comment around how the compute market will eventually be able to become traded. There will be a futures market for compute. He's got some thoughts on that and what he thinks. So we're going to be tearing that up with him as well.
Take. That's going to be good. Anyway, before we do that, Freema, build better sites faster. The all-in-one platform where enterprise teams design, build, and ship production-ready websites. No dev handoff, no bottlenecks, no creative compromises. Go to freema.com/ETN.
They're seamless. We migrated over there. They're seamless. Those guys are seamless over there. Let's get into the news.
Indeed.
First on the docket, this one's fresh off the press, and boy, is it hot. Anthropic and SpaceX sign compute partnership. Are you kidding me? This one is it's taken over the timeline. This dropped yesterday. It's pretty hot.
This was one for the Claude Code users. Limits, higher usage limits. No one's going to be hitting their usage limits anytime soon, I don't think.
This is nuts.
Nice.
By the way,
that was the one thing that people started getting super annoyed at. It was like, Claude's great, but like I just hit my usage limits all the time.
Yeah, they did an event the other day. I saw someone leak a photo from the presentation. Didn't see much of this line, but it was the infinite context windows.
We pioneered infinite context windows.
I don't know how they've, whether that's true or not, we'll find out. But yeah, those guys are certainly cooking. So yeah, this hit the timeline yesterday. This is from Elias over at the WSJ. They were quick to report on it. Now we've seen a few more people follow through. I'm not sure if anyone had an exclusive. It seemed to be broken from Claude's Twitter account, not Anthropic's Twitter account, which is interesting. But let's just bear in mind, this news is breaking during the OpenAI trial. So Musk is at the trial, going head to head with Tschammer and Brockman at the same time.
I didn't think about that.
He's in the back chatting with Dario. He's so
he's in the back making deals happen.
He's got his fingers in all the pies.
What a beast.
This kind of makes me realize why the text came
Last
through.
week he did 7 hours of testimonial. But while he was doing testimonial for 7 hours,
he's also signing probably the largest compute deal of all time. So let's talk about it. Anthropic Inc.'s deal to use all of SpaceX's Colossus 1 compute capacity prefixed quickly. xAI will also be rolled into SpaceX with a new name of SpaceX AI. We do have confirmation that there will be a new logo, and Benji, the head of design at Twitter, has replied an eyes emoji to Musk's announcement, which means it is probably in safe hands, given that Benji is a talented designer who is now head of design at X. But SpaceX will supply 300 megawatts of new computing capacity by the end of the month. Anthropic will use all of the computing capacity at SpaceX's Colossus 1 data center in a new agreement with Elon Musk's rockets and artificial intelligence company. SpaceX will supply 300 megawatts of new computing capacity using more than 220,000 NVIDIA GPUs by the end of the month, Anthropic said Wednesday. Anthropic also expressed interest in a partnership with SpaceX to build AI data centers in space. Finally, Musk is getting what he wants. I saw StarCloud's CEO, Philip, jump in here. He's pretty pumped about it. He says that following this announcement, the Dyson Sphere is actually not that far away.
The 10,000 years is a countdown now.
The 10,000 years
just got a
little bit shorter.
9,999 years.
The chances of him coming back on the show to talk about it once they do it have just increased. They're no longer... I mean, you could argue maybe they are zero. I don't know. Maybe the show. I mean, we might be alive then. I'm not sure if Brian Johnson will finally get us all to live forever by then. We'll see.
I think he will.
But yeah, we're very bullish on that. Financial terms of this agreement were not disclosed. The agreement comes as Anthropic has struggled to gather enough computing power to fuel enormous demand for its AI models, a struggle that every single frontier lab is experiencing at the moment. It said that SpaceX agreement will substantially increase its capacity and announce high usage limits for Claude Code and the Claude KPI. The deal also comes as SpaceX is shifting its own AI strategy. In February, the company merged with Musk's xAI, whose Grok models were built using the Colossus 1 data center, which is located near Memphis 10. Musk is working on an even bigger data center, the Colossus 2, also in the region. And last month, SpaceX said it had joined forces with the AI coding startup Cursor, securing an option to buy the company for $60 billion. There's also a default aspect of that deal where if it doesn't go through, they will be paid $10 billion for their services. At the time, the company said Cursor's team would use Colossus to train advanced frontier models for SpaceX. Very, very interesting. I've seen people comment around. There was a great tweet that was put out around this. Essentially, I actually kind of want to bring it up because I think it just tees up the conversation quite nicely.
Let's bring it up, sir.
So I'm going to pull this one up. This is from Celeste.
This was a banger.
Over there at Celeste post spelt with an A. It's about the Kingmaker scenario. In a game of three where three or more players, there's a situation where a player who is unable to win has the capacity, has the potential, has the choice to determine which player among the others will win. So they know that they can't win. So they have a choice. They can kingmake another player by partnering up with them, which would ultimately mean that that player would win. These are some of the comments that have been throwing out there. This is 411,000.3k views. I saw it. It rang true. Again, I'm not sure 100% what the strategy is here, but if we zoom out and have a look at this, we're seeing loads of memes fly around the timeline right now. This whole you can't beat me on your own. Oh, yes, but I can with them. And it's Musk and it's some sort of Star Wars thing going on. This is very tactical. It's very strategic, but it's also highlighting, I think, that it's kind of shifted the power dynamics, not even a little bit, quite a lot, because Musk holds the keys to the access to compute, which is who's constrained by all this? All their competitors. He's now holding the keys to this access that everyone is in need of.
Yeah.
So yeah, strategically genius move. It was surprising to me to see that this partnership had happened. Also surprising that Anthropic.
Were there
hadn't
murmurs
pushed
about this happening potentially, like before this happened? Like I haven't seen any leaks or even just a speculative X post thrown out there in the ether a few weeks before. Because sometimes that happens, or it happens more often than not.
Yeah, you get
it kind of just plants the seed of like, oh, that will probably happen. Directionally, the way that we're going, that's on,
Well, I think the clues were probably
paper.
there. Not that I spotted them. The clues were probably there for those sort of deep in the know. But I guess that a premise that would be holding it back is that, okay, yes, this is possible, but why would another lab provider who is in the competitive race ever partner up with one of the three? And I don't know, Celeste's post just made me think, wow, this is like Gigabrain territory here, which you love to see. But he's gigabraining. There are a few more articles that we can start going through because this is obviously widely covered. It's breaking news. It's global news.
Let's go from the Claude tweet.
Yeah, which is really cool.
The Claude tweet says, we've agreed 18.6 million views. We've agreed to partner to a partnership with SpaceX that will substantially increase our compute capacity. This, along with our other recent compute deals, means that we've been able to increase our usage limits for Claude Code and the Claude API. It is a good day for builders on Claude. Increased usage capacity, what does that mean? Higher usage limits. Anthropic has explicitly announced that this agreement allows higher usage limits for both Claude Code and Claude API. Better scaling, company stated that the influx of compute will substantially increase its overall capacity across basically kind of all of its models essentially, and then they're obviously going to be meeting the demand of the rise of Claude Code, Claude Cowork, and everyone using their kind of new Opus 4.7 models. It's like a direct response to their struggle, right? From developers being like, look, I'm hitting my weekly usage limits. This is basically super annoying.
People are constrained.
This is directly positively affecting those people. So very, very good work. Very clever.
And yeah, this came from the Claude AI X, 18.6 million views. We've agreed this partnership with SpaceX. Ultimately, increased compute capacity. Compute deals more recently means that we've been able to increase our usage limits, Claude Code, Claude API. Effective today, we're doubling Claude Code's 5-hour rate limits for Pro, Max, and Team plans, removing the peak hours limit reduction on Claude Code for Pro and Max plans, substantially raising our API limits for Opus models. Our agreement with SpaceX means we will use all the compute capacity at that Colossus One data center. This will give us over 300 megawatts of additional capacity to deploy within the month. And that timeline is short. I mean, this is obviously being planned in the background for some time, but knowing Musk, it could have been a really quick turnaround. And given this crazy deadline of moving towards this in 1 month, just makes it even more crazy. So I'm interested as to why Claude was the one to break that news, like why it's come from the Claude account and not the Anthropic account. I find that interesting, but I can't see that they've given anyone an exclusive on this. I think it has just straight away come from X, and then people have
I mean, I don't think they care about that. They know it's going to hit headlines, right?
I guess they
Wall
just
Street Journal.
Why they wouldn't need to even.
Hey, let's strategically launch this. No, let's just launch it on X. Let's launch it on X and it will go bonkers.
16 million views.
Sporadica said, you mean to tell me that xAI is just renting out a whole ass gigantic data center, 100,000 H100 to Anthropic? What in the hell is happening?
And this is a fair response. He follows up there at the bottom. This is so obviously a mega bearer signal for xAI, right? And he's kind of playing on that. I'm seeing there's like play on that meme, but he's right. It's an indicative sign of, okay, we again going back to the kingmaker analogy of there are multiple players in this game. In this case, probably about 3 main ones. Mm-hmm. Third place realizes that they have no chance of winning, but third place has the power to decide who first place is. They have the desire, they have the power to decide who can win. So they've essentially, in my eyes here, xAI have attempted to kingmake Anthropic. And what's also funny is, Musk being Musk, there's a lot of tweets from the past where he's like called Anthropic's model incredibly woke. He's said that Anthropic is misanthropic.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, this is coming back around. I can't see a world in which this screams, incredibly bullish signal for xAI. It seems to me more like a really good strategic move to like assess your situation, realize that you can't win. Okay, well then let's move to the next best thing. Let's control compute for winners, and let's also offer that to, you could argue second place or first place, whatever it was, but essentially it's in a way passing the crown to first place for the next, however months we have until something else crazy happens.
Sure.
But a very aligned take with, I think, the market from Spore here.
Yeah.
Again, no surprise there.
Comment from Trace Cohen as well on that post says it will make a lot of money for their IPO, which is correct, right? They're renting out their data centers to Anthropic. That is obviously going to generate kind of major revenue, and will boost and strengthen kind of financials and the valuation maybe ahead of the IPO. So that is good. Infrastructure monetization lets increase financials, strengthen the position before the IPO, but then also let's, as you're saying, kingmake Anthropic, and then the cherry on the cake is we're also in a battle with Tschammer right now.
Cherry on the data center.
Let's just cherry on the data center, indeed.
Wired had a really good
let's just do that
write up of this as well. So let's dig into that. Before we dig into that, I do want to tell all our friends over there that if you are looking to profit from your knowledge around this whole thing that we've got going on right now, you can go to Polymarket. It's the world's largest prediction market. Stay informed and profit from your knowledge. Go to polymarket.com. Let's get up the Wired article. We don't have to pull it up. We can just run through it. But this was a really cool. Very, very, very quickly.
I love the headline.
Kind of liking Wired recently. Wired's after they got that ineffable intelligence exclusive. I thought that was really cool how they gave it to Wired. But yeah, kind of digging what they've got going on right now, which is great.
Clawing back.
Headline reads: Anthropic gets in bed with SpaceX as the AI race turns weird.
What a
weird
headline.
Is fair. Weird is this? This is from Lauren Good.
The AI race turns weird.
In an unexpected turn, the two companies signed a deal for Anthropic to use computing resources from Elon Musk's xAI. Anthropic and Elon Musk's SpaceX said on Wednesday that the two entities have signed an agreement. This is stuff we know from the data center in Memphis, Tennessee, Colossus One. It's the largest tie-up in an industry that is scrambling to find enough computers to run complex AI software. SpaceX and xAI were previously separate companies, but the two merged earlier this year. The combined entity, also owned by Musk, is called SpaceXAI. It is kind of, just very quickly, it's kind of pushing towards his dream of the Everything app. Like everything is slowly finding its way into just conjoining into this one big, large conglomerate. It references here, this was something I mentioned earlier. Earlier this year, Musk criticized Anthropic's AI models in a post on X, calling the company's policies misanthropic and evil, and alleging without evidence that the AI models showed racial and sexual biases. Now he's changed his tune. He's right on X that he spent a lot of time last week with senior members of Anthropic team to understand what they do to ensure Claude is good for humanity, and was impressed. This is, as we've said, by the way, going on during the trial. So, people think like they're busy. This guy's like in one of the biggest lawsuits of his life. Well, I mean, he has like 5 every month, to be fair. As this one was going on, he settled another one with the SEC with his something to do with X. I can't remember exactly what the outcome was, but it's just, he's like juggling lawsuits and like almost controlling, like the GDP of a small country against like other sort of small country owners of GDP, with the other lads, which is super funny. But Musk's SpaceX first broke ground on Colossus One on a former Electrolux site in 2024. The company claims that it is one of the largest and fastest AI supercomputers in the world. It includes roughly 220,000 NVIDIA GPUs, ranging from NVIDIA H100s and H200s. So it's newer GB200 chips. The company likes to boast that it built the supercomputer in 122 days. A lot of people said this was not possible to do, but obviously, if there was going to be someone to do it, it would be him. I remember in Walter Isaacson's biography of him, there's a really cool story where they're needing to move. That he's taken over X, and they have to move. I think data centers out of X for a particular reason. I can't exactly remember what it is. So the team around him are like, okay, well we'll call the delivery people. We can get them to, bring up their vans, and they'll come into the room and they'll pull them all out, and we'll do this, that, and the other. And Musk is like, no, let's us right now just start pulling out the floorboards with our hands, and then we can try and like bring these things out on our own. And there's the company quoted him like, oh yeah, we can do this in like 2 months. He's like, no, I need these in a different city in like 4 days. And so he just himself just starts pulling up the floorboards with his hands, along with like, I think it's his nephew who works there. I can't remember. And they get it done. They get it done in 4 days. They move everything off site. So like these artificial deadlines that he seems to always set do, in my opinion, actually work. Where it's like, I think whenever you have a task, let's say like, here's some homework. You got a week to do it. Me personally, I'm doing that
week,
on the last day, or like the last 2 days, whatever it is. Like the work is compressed. Like whatever time frame you're given, the work gets compressed into like usually the last like 30% of that, with like I'd say 90% of the work being done in the last 10% of that time frame.
Sure.
Which I think he's hyper aware of, and also like sets his expectations amongst his peers, people around him, and himself personally around that.
But hasn't he said like if I'm missing, I can't remember what the percentage is, but a certain percent of deadlines, it means I'm doing the right thing, kind of thing.
Oh really?
Yeah. If I'm missing deadlines, it means like we're moving fast enough.
Because we just got so much stuff to
like you should be missing deadlines because it shows that you're trying to move.
You're working towards them.
There was also a nice little paragraph that did mention the IPO and said the partnership comes at a pivotal time for Space xAI, which is seeking to go public as soon as next month. A relationship with a leading AI lab could bolster SpaceX's credibility as it pitches investors on the potential goldmine in establishing more data centers, including in space. Again, it's a perfect game and a perfect deal of hitting two things at once with that cherry on the top while going through the trial with Sam Altman. So it's just so clever and awesome that no one really saw it like we were saying earlier, right? Super interesting. Anyway, cool. Shall we move on?
Yeah, let's do it.
Before we move on, Base, the infrastructure for the unchained world. Base is built to empower builders, creators, people everywhere to build apps, grow businesses, create what they love, and earn on chain. Go to base.org. Let's move on. DeepSeek nears $50 billion valuation. That's trying to invest in it. Very interesting. AI startup works with Beijing in the push for technology self-sufficiency versus the US.
Yeah, this was we saw hints of this come out a few weeks ago when we discussed like, wow, they were raising just to retain employees. They were raising money to use that cash to promise like equity payouts, stock payouts, or whatever, to employees at the firm, which is the first time that I'd personally seen a sole reason for raising said money is literally just to retain the best talent, which now in this hyper competitive, I guess talent wars are still ongoing. They don't get as much press anymore, but they are definitely still alive.
Sure.
Within this world of the AI talent wars, this is incredibly necessary. Like you need to have a lot of money to keep these people on side. But this is from Raphael Huang over at WSGA and also Tracy Q. China's DeepSeek is raising money from government-backed investors, aligning the artificial intelligence startup with Beijing's push for technology self-sufficiency. Some prospective investors have valued DeepSeek at around 50 billion in recent talks. I saw the FT commented it was more around 45. The valuation has surged in recent weeks after previous discussions envisioned a range between 10 billion and 30 billion. This for me seems like an absolutely fine valuation given what we're seeing amongst the closed source models. Obviously these guys are open source. I'd be interested actually to compare this to what Hugging Face is valued at. I'm not actually sure what their valuation is, but I don't think it's quite 50 billion. I mean, we haven't had an indication of like a liquidity event recently for them, I don't think. So there hasn't been an opportunity to price discover what that new valuation will be given the scenarios that we find ourselves in now. I think it will obviously be a lot higher than what it was previously valued at. But China's National Artificial Intelligence Industry Investment Fund, a 1-year-old government-backed fund with around 8.8 billion in capital. That's funny. China's National Artificial Intelligence Industry investment fund, which is a 1-year-old fund. So they've obviously seen this and been like, we need a load of cash.
We probably need to do
and
this.
we need to, we need to get this rolling out. They've got 8.8 billion in capital dollars. Is in advanced talks to invest in the round in Chinese yuan. People familiar with the matter said Hangzhou-based DeepSeek aims to raise a few $1 billion in the new round. The people said the company plans to use the new capital to advance its research and development as well as to expand computing infrastructure. It also wants to anchor a market valuation to signal its worth and provide a benchmark for employee stock grants to help retain top talent. Some of the people said. I like the first part, anchor a market valuation, signal its worth. This makes complete sense. And again, I think this is incredibly smart to retain talent. Like it's just incredibly necessary. They have to do this. It's the only way that they can keep people. It's just with insane sums of cash. Like how can they just can't compete with OpenAI and they're open source as well, right? But they haven't really been in the headlines too much since they caused that insane like black swan event stock market crash that just put a fire sale
that was a
on,
while ago
everything
as well.
Yeah, I think it was like 2 years ago now. But that was
I remember
time.
that being like, oh my god,
that was global news.
China's now way ahead. DeepSeek has,
yeah.
The
People
benchmarks
overreacted.
It was like cheaper, quicker.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Like better, cheaper to train. Huge overreaction. The way it was phrased in most like legacy media, I think was like, scary China, like China overtaking China, blah, blah, blah. So I think there was a natural response from the market with that in mind. But Beijing has treated DeepSeek as a national AI champion since the startup rattled Silicon Valley and Wall Street earlier last year with a powerful model it said was built at a fraction of the cost of Western rivals. DeepSeek has since become a key component of China's plan to have top-class homegrown companies in a range of AI fields. I can imagine as well having something like this there. Now they're bringing on a lot more cash. If these people are rewarded with large sums of money and they eventually hit their vesting period, like there will be a natural trickle-down effect to AI talent in the region. Probably see some more Chinese-based like AI startups coming out the ringer. You look at like DeepMind, for example, right? All paths lead back to DeepMind for across like the whole AI space, really, with Sam and Brotman and whatnot.
Sure.
So you can imagine that this is going to do a lot of good for the community there, and probably see some more startups pop up as well, based off this. And it seems like a fair valuation. Like this doesn't seem outrageous. Maybe 3-4 years ago it would seem a little bit outrageous, but I don't think anymore that this, the numbers have changed, the game's changed. Like people are desensitized to these numbers now. So this for me is there's nothing in here that screams like, oh, this is crazy, this makes no sense. It completely aligns. And they also released an upgraded flagship model called V4. That was last month. The new model was trained on NVIDIA's high-end chips. DeepSeek works closely with Huawei and other domestic chip providers, signaling a pivot away from dependence on the US. Coming back to this sovereignty conversation that everyone's having right now, AI is the catalyst of this. And it's not just in Europe or the US. It's global. People are recognizing the power this will have and the power it will play in like future geopolitics as well. DeepSeek has said that V4 matched top-tier US products released late last year, but in certain areas lagged leading US models released this year, such as Anthropic's Claude Opus 4.6. Investors expect the new DeepSeek model to drive a wave of AI adoption in China as industries look to automate more complex tasks from offices to the factory floor. First thing that comes to mind is probably the automotive industry. I know that like everyone was, especially in Germany, people were incredibly scared of Chinese EVs basically like destroying the German economy, because it was essentially
the German economy is propped up by the automotive industry.
100%, yeah, and they could not compete in terms of any like EV models that they were bringing out, and that was like a really scary thing for a while. But I think then the war in Ukraine meant that like a lot of capital was flowing into defense, so naturally like you can sort of very rapidly like refit your automotive factories, for example, for like weapons or defense manufacturing. So it's kind of like, the war in a way saved Germany's economy, in an interesting way. But it's definitely in Europe, I'd say. Obviously, the front lines of Ukraine, we're seeing they have the most high tech, like that is the frontier of tech drone warfare, but also by proxy, also the frontier of just drone technology. So a lot of really great startups coming out of there. But I say as a whole, in the whole of Europe, you'd probably suggest that like Munich and potentially maybe areas of the Baltics are probably the front runners in deep/defense, like dual use technology in Europe would be my guess.
Where's Helsing?
Where are they
based?
I think they're UK, no?
Yeah. No, Munich.
Munich, my bad. I think offices in.
They do have an office in London, I'm sure.
But yeah, so this is in 2024, China raised the equivalent round of 50 billion in the third installment of its national semiconductor fund, commonly known as the Big Fund, aiming to bolster the country's chip making capabilities. Months later, the Big Fund helped set up the AI fund. So this is the new AI fund that has been released last month that we mentioned at the start of the article, called China's National Artificial Intelligence Industry Investment Fund. Not gonna lie, a lot of words. I kind of like the name. I feel that would be good.
Isn't
merch.
China known for like just naming things really well? Are they just say it how it is.
Yeah, and I'm down for that.
Whereas I think the US is more down like the Game of Thrones route.
I think we're seeing like some of this, especially after like the A16Z reindustrialization, like Pax Romana era rebrand that they did. That we're seeing a lot more say it as it is type of old school naming. There was like one that went viral. Yeah. I think it was yesterday or the day before, maybe, the Western Chemicals Company. And their branding was just insane. It's like an old school, like Western cowboy, but he's got a jetpack on. Like it looks like something out of Fallout 4. That was awesome. Everyone was like, where do these designs come from? And then they quoted the designer, and then they even like followed up with the announcement, like, you guys are going crazy over the design. So we're releasing like our brand pack here with like a bunch more, and everyone's getting super hyped.
They should release merch.
So you love to see it. Yeah, I was just saying like this, that would look really cool. The Chinese National Artificial Intelligence Industry Investment Fund would look nice on like a Coach jacket, maybe like some sort
on
of
the
like
back. I think like on
or like a bomber jacket, maybe.
Yeah, like a bomber jacket.
That could look really cool.
Maybe you should rename the show.
Yeah, get some of this merch over on our sides. But look, yeah, it looks like things are heating up there. It makes complete sense. Valuation doesn't seem crazy. Strategically, great idea. So things are heating up, which is always good to see. It's not just happening over here in Europe and the US, but also over there in China.
Indeed, it is. Airwallex, leave outdated business banking behind with Airwallex. The all-in-one financial platform built for the pace of modern business, multi-currency accounts, corporate accounts, expense management, online payments, all in one platform. Go to airwallex.com. Let's move on to memory stocks. Okay,
these make me want to cry. I just thought that every single one is mooning. I do we've mentioned on the show before, Zephyr, the X account, who called out SanDisk like months ago. And he's been following it with his tweet. His follow account went nuts after he tweeted. He was like, I called this here. It's up like, I don't even know, over 1,000% in the space of 6 months. I saw a tweet today. It was something like, if you put in 25,000 into SanDisk like last year, you'd have like 1.2 million right now. A bunch of memes are coming off this, really great ones. Like, everyone's asking like, can someone tell me the next emerging market so I can get in early? Like that tweet seems to be getting rinsed at the moment. But they are flying. We've got Lawrence coming on later to talk about this in a bit more depth. We're going to get his take. So Cloudberry VC is one of the first UK-based semiconductor-specific venture capital firms. So he's obviously very well poised to discuss this. He had a great chat with Paddy over at Odin on Paddy's new platform, chatting a little bit about strategically, like where does the UK sit within this. But yeah, I just dropped him a text the other day and was like, would love to chat more with you about this later on. But yeah, it's everywhere. Like it's everything is mooning, and it's not just the memory. It's not just the memory stocks are leading the charge. Also, Wall Street Bets and like retail have got a hold of this now. So you, like in every single like Reddit thread, you're born out of the GME era. The new thing to talk about is memory stocks. Yeah. So all of retail is flooding into this. We saw it ages ago. Didn't really get a chunk. I mean, ASML, but you know, these like all these Asian memory stocks are just absolutely flying. And I've got some data here from the COPSI, the Korean exchange. It's up like it's up like 75% in like I think 3 months or something. That's not that's their like the market.
Oh no way!
Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
It's like their S&P.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah. It's like their stock market is up just an absolute insane amount. Which is crazy, but an article here from Dan Gallagher, memory makers are the hottest thing in tech. Are they making too much money? He asked. The profit margins of memory makers look unsustainably high, but AI demand is changing the game. And as I said, I will prefix this with, it's not even just the memory stocks, it's anything connected to the AI supply chain right now. And we've got another article going about this Japanese toilet maker, and there's also this like glass maker. Their stocks are mooning after announcing.
They're all pivoting.
Yeah. How can we plug into the supply chain and capture some of these margins?
How can we become AI native, essentially?
And this is a really great write-up. So it says something about the memory business when skyrocketing profits can actually be a cause for worry. Profits have never been a sure thing in the volatile industry. Memory chip makers Micron Tech, SanDisk, hard drive makers Seagate, Western Digital, all up, have all produced annual operating losses at least once in just the past 3 years, but those days seem far in the past now, as the AI boom had sparked an epic run on memory chips and hard drives. Sales at all four companies have surged this year. SanDisk and Micron are now generating around 80 cents of gross profit for every dollar of revenue. That is insane margins. That compares with a wide range historically from single digits to around 60 cents on the dollar. It seems unsustainably high for companies in very expensive businesses of physically manufacturing chips, but the unique nature of chip making also speaks to why the market conditions driving such profits won't be changing anytime soon. Memory demand is growing sharply now, but new production facilities take years to build. So we're seeing this sort of like bottleneck of like just classic demand supply, and people are just diving in. So spending on artificial intelligence would need to fall off significantly to make a dent in the industry's current pricing power, and the biggest spenders in AI just signaled their intention to spend even more. Microsoft raised its capital spending forecast for the year by $25 billion, Meta $10 billion, its own planned outlay, with both citing rising component costs at the justification.
And Meta's almost at $200 billion a year spending in CapEx costs.
It's insane. Like Apple came out and said as well, like, we are aware of this and it will have like a significant impact in our and it's funny because like they've always been pretty good at like kind of like the pros, like navigating the supply just their global supply chain. I remember when
it has to be, it just has to be so resilient.
When the tariffs came out, do you remember, I don't know if this was true or not, but when the tariffs came out, Apple were like flying iPhones in jets prior to it. Like there was a tariffs will be set this day very soon.
Sure.
Apple were flying iPhones in like filling jets full of iPhones and flying them to like navigate the supply chain changes, basically avoid
I did not see that.
So there was a meme going around. There's like a new consultant, if you're interviewing at like Jane Street or you're interviewing at like it's like a big four or something, well, not a big four, but like a Jane Street would probably be more applicable, where they give you these like mathematical obscure like memory teasers type thing, and then one of them was like, how many iPhones can you fit in a Boeing 747, like this model, this particular iPhone? Because it became like a national talking point where like they're so good at adapting to what's happening around them that they are literally, it's almost like a startup would do. Do you know what I mean? Like, how can we do this? I don't know, like what's the only way? Let's chuck them all in a jet and just fly them over there. But I think they mentioned, this is driving the prices up for everyone, even Apple, long known for its prowess at managing the supply chain and wrangling favorable terms out of its vendors, now concedes that memory prices will drive, and this is a quote from Tim Cook, will drive an increasing impact on our business, according to the comments from Chief Executive Tim Cook, who has stepped down from that position. The shortage is also raising the stocks of memory makers. SanDisk is now valued at nearly 7 times what it was 6 months ago, while Seagate and Western Digital have seen their share prices nearly triple in that time. Samsung Electronics is on an absolute tear. This is the world's largest producer of the DRAM memory chips, became the latest member of the 1 trillion club this week. Micron and Korean memory maker SK Hynix have both seen their share prices more than double this year. Both carry a higher market cap than ExxonMobil in the midst of a booming oil market. We've got a nice graph there as well.
This also, it was the Samsung workers, like they were getting annoyed because they were like, "Yo, our profit, your profits are soaring, and we're not getting any more money."
That is nuts. So the response from the Samsung employees was to
It's
unionize.
almost like riots type thing.
And
right?
I love it. I
Yeah.
love that from them. But they
It's like we know what's going on. Like, pay us more money.
they're super annoyed. They're like, they're probably
two
on.
Samsung
they're probably on
unions are
X.
demanding the company pay out demanding the company pay out 15% of each division's operating profits to workers, as well as raise wages by 7%. They have threatened an 18-day walkout starting on the May 21st if the demands are not met. That's so interesting.
Yeah, they're going crazy.
But you would obviously, like.
Yeah, I don't know.
Things are soaring, tailwinds are there. Like, fine. There's a few worries whether it's sustainable or not, but the nature of the market means it probably is, and the market that's causing all of this rallying, and you're going to as an employee. So yeah. Very, very fair.
So they've been smart about this. So this is from Daniel Tudor, who's based in Seoul. This is only released 6 hours ago, but Samsung workers demand a bigger slice of surging AI profits. South Korean unions threaten strike action in the battle for big bonuses and higher wages. So Samsung Electronics is locked in a feud with its workers over how to share the spoils of the AI-driven semiconductor boom, with unions threatening to call a strike if the chip maker does not increase wages and bonuses. 2 Samsung unions are demanding the company pay out 15% of each division's operating profits to workers. That is insane. 15% of division's operating profits to workers, as well as raise wages by 7%. Fair. They have threatened an 18-day walkout starting on May 21st if these demands are not met. The dispute comes at a time of surging demand for semiconductors, especially the advanced high-bandwidth memory chips made by Samsung and others that we mentioned earlier. Wednesday, Samsung Electronics stock market value hit more than $1 trillion after its shares surged more than 14% to an all-time high. Net profit soared to a record 47.2 trillion won, which is $32.6 billion in the first quarter, almost 6 times higher than the figure in the same period a year ago.
That's
They're
so
moving
crazy.
like a flipping Series B, like index A16Z funded.
Yeah.
Like
Not $1 trillion company. Well, they are $1 trillion company now.
Yeah, triple, double in. Almost all the profits
Last month,
were
40,000
earned from
workers
semiconductors.
rallied outside Samsung's factory complex
Is that how many people work at Samsung?
in Pyeongtaek, 70 kilometers south of Seoul.
40,000 workers rallied outside the Samsung factory offices. That is insane. And they say a strike could disrupt. I mean, look, they are obviously.
If 40,000 people strike for 18 days.
Well, but it's like, this isn't just like,
It's like
okay, this company won't get their blah, blah for this, like, or, this will annoy the executives because it will, we won't be able to move that. Like, this will affect the global supply chain. So they say a strike could disrupt global supply chains at a time when memory chip supply is tight. A rush by AI companies to sign long-term contracts with chip makers has pushed up prices for other customers, including makers of consumer electronics. Kwon Seok-jun, a professor at Sungkyun Kwan University in Seoul, estimated an 18-day walkout would cost Samsung between 10 trillion and 7 trillion won. And doing some quick maths, that is about $7.5 billion at the low end. Indirect losses, but the bigger damage is indirect. Samsung is trying to build up a contract of chip-making businesses and to establish itself as a trusted supplier of HBM4 chips to NVIDIA. And even, this is insane, there would also be ripple effects on the 1,700 smaller companies that supply Samsung. The Bank of Korea estimates about half of the country's first quarter GDP growth of 1.7% was attributable to chip making.
That's so crazy.
That is absolutely nuts. Samsung
Talk about
Electronics
concentration.
rival. Yeah, that's just insane. So I mentioned Samsung Electronics and its rival SK Hynix account for more than 40% of the value of the Kospi index. 40%. I mean, like, people were freaking out when Nvidia was like, what represent? I think it was like 9% or something, which is insane to be fair. And they've been dethroned actually. Google is now the most valuable company in the world, which I'm happy because my bags are pumping, which is great. I don't own any Nvidia.
Okay.
Which is not a good thing.
Nice.
But yeah, they're going crazy. They're going absolutely nuts. But Lawrence will come on and we can discuss this with him. As you know, why are we seeing this crazy squeeze? Where has this come from? I think we mentioned it on the show before, and Zephyr said, you know, memory stock specifically will be used within AI video generation. That once we breach the 1 to 3 seconds point, which we have now, naturally one would need these things, and we have breached that point, so now people need them. I assume there are multiple other different factors that Lawrence can maybe enlighten us on as to why they'd be so valuable and what their position in the supply chain is and means. But yeah, just insane. And it's sad because I'm sat on the sidelines, man. I don't have got zero exposure.
No exposure to Samsung.
Yeah. Just to any of this like memory stock craze.
I thought you said yesterday to me that you had
For ASML.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay, fine.
Which is
yeah.
fine, but like, I want some of this memory stock stuff.
Yeah.
Well, hey, if any of you got it, congrats.
Congrats
You,
on your bags.
You're winning the game. Anyway, let's move on. Before we do that, Framer, build better sites faster. The all-in-one platform where enterprise teams design, build, and ship production-ready websites. No dev handoff, no bottlenecks, no creative compromises. Go to framer.com/ETN. Should we continue with the chip craze?
Yeah, so this is a fun one.
This is like the next. This is like the next.
So this is part 2.
So this happened last week. So this toilet maker pivoted to an AI company last week, right? I think.
Yeah. So it got leaked not leaked, so like a month ago. It was I think it was called like Toto, I think. I'll have to find the name, but Toto, they basically would manufacture toilets, but they discovered that some part of that was like instrumental in manufacturing semiconductor chips. So immediately we're like, okay, 99% of our company's value is right here in this part of this specific toilet making process. This comes from Jared Mitovich over at WSJ. The chip craze is turning a glass company and a toilet maker into AI stocks. Investors are driving big gains in companies making components vital to AI infrastructure. It shows a little share price performance chart. I'd love to pull that up if we can. It's basically just showing you how these particular stocks, Delta Electronics, Vertiv, Comfort Systems, we've even got Caterpillar in there, which is on an absolute tear. I think Caterpillar, if you bought it 10 years ago, you'd be sitting pretty right now. Compared to the S&P, and it's kind of showing, like, you know, previously when the Mag 7 had basically accounted for like something like 90% of the gains across the whole market. I'm paraphrasing with the numbers; they might be slightly, you know, error margins there, give or take 5 or 10%. And it's reminding me of that, you know, like these are flying in comparison to the general market. And I can't remember who.
But in reality, that's you know, I guess a good thing, because the S&P, you know, particularly recently over the past maybe year or two, you know, the concentration of the S&P has been a thing where it's like, hey, like if you're investing in the S&P, your exposure is only really the sevens, you know, the Mag 7.
For any growth.
And they control, you know, 20% of the whole of the performance, right? So like this in reality is probably a good thing, because it's less concentration of profits, which is good.
100%. So they write up here that investors' pursuit of the company supplying key materials to the artificial intelligence build-out is powering an epic rally in shares of chip makers. The other companies caught in the frenzy include an 175-year-old glass manufacturer, a heavy machinery
What a durable
giant.
business.
I love that. And I bet they'd have some cool merch. And Japan's leading maker of toilets. The AI trade has boosted stocks' record run, with the S&P 500 climbing 1.5% to new highs on Wednesday after signs of progress on a Middle East peace deal and strong earnings from AMD. It has also sparked volatility in markets, sending investors swinging between worries that AI won't produce the expected blockbuster profits and fears it will disrupt entire industries. So let's talk about the glass and the fiber optics. Here we can see index and share price performance for Corning. Corning is among the latest companies to reap a windfall from the ripple effects of the data center build-out. Shares saw 12% on Wednesday after NVIDIA announced a plan to invest $500 million in the glass maker to expand manufacturing and fiber optics, a key connective tissue for AI infrastructure. So we're starting to see it's like AI boom, need more compute. Let's like all the money now flows into construction and manufacturing.
Everything is now soft. Is now infrastructure.
What's the downside of that though? You know, we need to find what's the next thing? Where do we make the money? You know, I've missed this. I'm behind. I've left this alone. And that's fine. There'll be another one. There's always another one. But just, you know, that guy tweeted the other day.
Swing back to software.
Who knows, you know, who can tell me what the next emerging market is? And what is it? What's downstream of the manufacturing?
I feel like it's got to be space, surely.
Yeah, space
because manufacturing in space is like a completely new thing.
We've already missed energy as well.
And can the and can some of these companies that are manufacturing on because if they can manufacture on Earth, the companies that enable manufacturing on space is a good thing. That I guess.
Yeah, but it's probably gonna have to be a different space. Sort of,
but like, is it the rocket companies that provide the ability to get to space, or is it the infrastructure companies that allow the other infrastructure companies to actually build technology
in space?
In space, because is this technology only Earth worthy?
Like how you're thinking. Like
you know
how you're thinking, Luke. I'm gonna go a different route. I'm gonna go merch for. These new workers, they're gonna need overalls. There's gonna be an overall shortage. There's gonna be a glove shortage. There's gonna be an overall shortage. Probably a steel toe-capped boots shortage. So we should buy steel. We should buy steel.
That's it.
That's my.
Buy steel stocks.
Yeah, that's my theory. Going to need a whole lot of steel for these steel toe-capped boots because we're going to be doing a lot of building. But that's my prediction. Anyway, we can probably jump into the town square.
Yeah, let's do it.
We've got 7 minutes. What's going on for 7 minutes. Just see where we're at. What's trending right now. How is everyone getting on today? Before we jump into that, I do want to tell you about our friends over there at Base. Base is the infrastructure of the on-chain world. Base is built to empower builders, creators, and people everywhere to build apps, grow businesses, create what they love, and earn on-chain. Go to base.org to go and do that. So let's jump into...
Should we go through Ryan Cohen's eBay?
This is so crazy. So yeah, we'll go to the first tweet. For those who may have been living under a rock, they may have seen that Ryan Cohen has put in a bid to buy eBay, half cash, half stock. He's now doing some expert level trolling. So
Sean McGuire commented genius.
Yeah, he's
so good.
He's tweeted out, "I'm selling stuff on eBay to pay for eBay." This has got 2.1 million views.
He's got a Windows 2000
server. We can bring this up, but I know that the screen sharing is going to be a bit crazy here because we're quite zoomed in.
No, I think this is fine. It'll show the middle two, maybe.
Yeah.
How's that?
Middle 3. Okay. To the left, from left to right. Not sure. No worries. So let's just have a look at some of the stuff he's got on here. He's got a Windows 2000 server.
Have you seen the pole position Game Boy?
1225. The F1 one.
The pole position Game Boy.
He's got a GameStop mouse pad for 1.5k.
That's so cool.
Let's get rid of this window here for the ads. GameStop hat, 4,650.
That's surely 80 bids.
This, I think you can default on a bid. I don't think you're actually held to a bid on eBay. GameStop mug, 3,000. So he's obviously just taking the complete mick out of all these people. He's just like randomly throwing.
No way. Okay, so on the GameStop cap, go to the game. Just actually click on the GameStop hat. He's got the offer letter of the eBay.
You're joking.
Yeah, he does. Dear Chairman, GameStop Corp is proposing to acquire all common stock of eBay Inc. at $125 per share. We have accumulated 5% economic stake in eBay through derivatives and beneficial ownership of common stock, and are filing a Schedule 13D and HSR notification tomorrow. That is so good. Our offer is $125 a share, comprising of 50% cash, 50% GameStop common stock, with full shareholder election rights as to consideration type and pro rata allocation. That is so funny.
This is insane. I've never seen anything like this.
No, neither have I.
This is master level marketing.
Following, he says at the end, following close, I will serve as Chief Executive Officer of the combined company. I will receive no salary, no cash bonuses, and no golden parachute. I will be compensated solely based on performance of the combined company.
Damn. Let's give him a lion roar.
Let's
for that.
go.
That is, you love the heart.
The fact
You
that
love
he's
to
put
see
that on the GameStop cap, someone at eBay should buy that, get it delivered to eBay.
He's got 80 bids.
There you go.
It's crazy.
Only 80 bits, not actually that many.
So this is a saga that's been playing out. We can bring this one down now. We do have another thing to show you guys from Ryan Cohen again. He put this tweet out. This was a few hours after that, basically. We can bring this up. He is on the phone with customer support at eBay. He says, please respond at eBay. And he's hit you've reached the amount, $50,000 you can list this month. So he's been blocked from posting anymore. And he's calling eBay to sort this out. And I'm seeing this here. Like, that's actually a surprisingly small number.
Yeah, that is a small number.
Like, that's a problem that he would probably sort that out.
Why do you think they would have a limit?
Makes no sense. It's directly tied to their top line. Why would you want to
Limit.
restrict that in any way?
Yeah.
You'd
What if
want
I
it
want
to
to put
be-
something on for $51,000?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
What's the max amount you can buy? I mean, maybe it's because of regulation. I mean, I know it's so European of me, but
I don't know. That just doesn't make any sense.
can you
Making
sell
your own business.
Can you sell secondhand thing? Can you? Yeah. I don't know.
Doesn't make any sense.
That's my
don't know why they want to limit how
potential
much.
reason why that would be the case.
Yeah.
But is he selling socks in this photo? He is.
Yeah, that's a pair of socks there. Oh, I guess from the half cash, half
Half cash,
A lot of
half
memes
that.
came out from that. It's half cash, half socks.
That's so good.
Which is excellent. Just elite level trolling, kind of reminiscent of the GME days as well. So you love to see that from Ryan Cohen.
There's a GME sign. Apparently, he's also got on his eBay.
What, he's put up a GME sign. He's got a bunch of stuff on there, dude. He's got a Halo 3 poster for like $4,000.
He's got a GameStop sign for $14,000.
That will sell. That will definitely sell. How many bids is that got?
97 bids.
Someone will actually
condition
buy that,
used.
100%.
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
got
100%.
He's got the stock letter in there as well. The offer letter.
I think he's got it.
The
I
offer
think
letter's
he
in every
must have it
single-
on all of them.
Yeah, he's put it in every single item. That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's
He's
so
put it in
funny.
every single item. That's so great. What a beast. Anyway, let's move on. Let's keep going. One more.
Yeah, we can get a few more in before we have the Dune co-founder coming in.
Should we talk about
Let's have a
Europeans
look.
drinking caramel iced lattes?
Yeah, this was excellent.
So this is from Louise de Sadalier. I hope I pronounced that right. Seeing this Euromaxing post, knowing full well no European drinks iced caramel frappuccino with whipped cream or whatever this is.
So yeah, Lamige's original sweet Euromaxing in brackets coffee and yap on a Sunday afternoon. Looking at that thing there, that milkshake that they're drinking, I think that's it's the Inglorious Bastards, like three fingers up, like obviously like, you've outed yourself, like you're not
What a great reference. That's so good.
You're not Euromaxing. This is a sleight of hand error here.
You've lost
that,
lost
my
the game.
friend, is that's something you get in Starbucks in America. That's not a European.
What do you reckon?
drink.
Is that in Europe? I don't know. They can't.
it looks
they cannot
super.
avoid
It
that.
looks super Europe. But no, but these places do sell this stuff in Europe, which is crazy. But
They do.
yeah, that any European
surprised if
who's
they had
sitting down at a cafe is not drinking, some sort of 2,000 calorie
Frappuccino.
milkshake. Yeah,
Has
frappuccino.
zero coffee.
You're having a
the
black
ratio of coffee
espresso.
to cream is.
And a nice Marlboro Red.
Yeah.
And that's you sorted.
Indeed. Anyway, let's move on. Leave outdated business banking behind with Airwallex, the all-in-one financial platform built for the pace of modern business, multi-currency accounts, corporate cards, expense management, online payments, all in one platform. Go to airwallex.com. First on the show, we have Matt. I think he is in the show. Can you hear us, sir? Yes.
Let's bring Matt in the room.
On the show. Here we go.
Welcome to the European Technology Network, sir. Dude, tell me about it, man. These people are making all the money. We were trying to work out what is the next thing. I was saying we should buy steel because we're gonna see a lot more manufacturing. People will be wearing steel capped boots. In those boots, there is obviously steel cap boots, socks fly. We should buy steel. We're buying shovels, not gold. That's my thesis.
Yeah. Whenever we ask anyone on the show, hey, like, can you give us a prediction? Or we never say prediction, but can you kind of look into the future for us? They say no. I have absolutely no idea because next week we're in a completely different market. It's bonkers. Yeah.
So nuts.
Well, dude, thank you so much for joining us. I know we've only got 15 minutes, so let's dive straight in. First question off the bat, right, is Dune. Tell us more about Dune. What are you guys doing? You're kind of extracting away from the complexity of the on-chain economy and everything that's going on in that industry. Talk to us a little bit about it. Mm-hmm. Sure. Mm-hmm. Nice. Yeah, for sure. Nice. You mentioned about the agentic side of it. Can you talk to us about can you see the numbers go up kind of 10-fold, 100-fold all of the time? Like what's the, what are the transaction volumes on the agentic side right now and where is it going? Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of the talent and the attention is going to AI these days, which is natural.
Mm-hmm.
But thirdly, which I'm very excited about, is that AI is certainly using Dune. and like we've launched some APIs and MCPs and CLIs for people to interact with Dune through their agents, and this is growing really rapidly, and it's really shaping how we think about building the product and who the like end user actually is.
Yeah. Like double click on that then, right? So like with you guys at Dune, how are you now thinking about building the product? Like, is it, you know, I don't know how you thought about it before, but was it kind of UI, UX first and then the back end? Like how does it work now?
Yeah, that's more or less spot on. So like the way Dune came to be and what most people know Dune of is that they've seen a dashboard on X or Twitter.
Sure.
And they came to the site, maybe they signed up, maybe they tried some stuff themselves, but the end output was also always like a dashboard that lived somewhere. Over time, we took all that attention and built sort of like a more B2B revenue model on top of that, which was less dashboard focused, more API driven. But these days we see that, and it's not just for Dune, but we see the interfaces going away from like Dune.com and other websites and being pushed out to more of the edge. Like it's being pushed into your chat with your agent or just in ChatGPT or in Claude AI. Like the interfaces are losing their sort of like network effects a little bit. But the sort of the underlying utility that Dune provides is still, you know, access to this data. It's just, I think the emphasis on the website as a destination in the future will be less.
Yeah. You mentioned that something that keeps coming up, and it, you know, the agentic economy is something that we've discussed a lot on the show. We had the CRO of Stripe's EMEA offices on, and you know, this was after they'd released that. It was like their earnings report. They did it natively on X, I think, a few months ago. But then obviously we had the Stripe sessions the other day with the Collison brothers, and you're right. In my eyes, they seem to be kind of like the ones betting on it the most. They're the most excited about it from a public perspective anyway. What's your take on this, I guess, emerging market? I guess you would call it an emerging market. Like, do you see it having legs? How are you guys approaching it?
I really hope it has legs, honestly, like because it's really transformational in terms of how like humans actually coordinate. Like I don't think we'll never see anything like this in our lifetimes, like one human being able to maybe in the medium term, you know, manage hundreds or thousands of agents that are economic actors that do manage businesses, that make purchases, that sell stuff. So I'm like personally and Dune, we're here for this sort of new economy. And I think it's really cool how like Stripe think about this like end to end. And also it's like, there's actually a blockchain beneath that, most of what they're doing. Like they actually think that the blockchain and crypto has a place in this sort of new economy, because I think you could easily have a vision for this that excludes crypto at all, right? You could be the Collison brothers and just think, you know what, like we don't need this crypto thing. What we need is just like Stripe's databases. Yeah. And so I think that's pretty cool that crypto's like such a core part of it.
Yeah. That's really cool. And something that you mentioned at the start as well, I'd love to get your take on. We were discussing it a little bit, but talent wars, particularly among like the labs, they haven't like died down, but they're just less public. I think it's definitely still ongoing. We were just reading about DeepSeek raising at a 50 billion valuation, with the core focus just, we need money to pay our employees better and offer them like really good equity grants to retain talent. You mentioned there like maybe you know, some crypto talent is moving or like restructuring around what's happening in AI. Maybe they're going to like just AI native companies. Maybe they're going to, you know, AI and crypto companies that sit at a certain intersection. What can you give us a take on like the crypto talent market? Like, is this something that people are seeing? Is it something that's sort of like ebbing and flowing like every other industry, you know, towards AI native companies?
I think historically, like at least for software engineers, like the battle has always been sort of can I go work with frontier technologies in a startup, or can I go like get a 7-figure salary at you know, big tech? I think this is still largely true, and the same like trade-off that that individual engineers are facing, except that the big tech is now more OpenAI and Anthropic. However, what I think has really changed is the sort of pipeline of entrepreneurs into crypto and founders, because I think founders are always attracted by frontier technology and like the most sort of obvious economic opportunities. And this is where I feel like people are now, not looking as much in crypto, but they're looking towards AI when they're starting a new company, right? I think like the number of companies being created in AI certainly feels like, in crypto feels lower than it was before, like because a lot of talented individuals are going to where the opportunity is the greatest, which is AI.
Yeah. That makes complete sense. And I guess like how you mentioned that you guys are doing some really cool agentic stuff. What have you got that's coming up at the moment that you guys are pumped about? Like how are things at Dune overall? Like what are the fun updates that you've got?
Yeah, for sure. I think like it's easy for me as the CTO to be really excited about the stuff that we do internally to like enable our engineering work to be more agentic and everything. Like some of the stuff we've seen has been like individual engineers like six doubling, like 6xing their PR throughput.
Wow.
And this is one individual who's just like, he's the only one in the company who does that. But it's crazy how somebody like goes from, an expected number of PRs to like 6 times that.
Yeah.
And it just makes you really wonder, like, what about like how do we get everyone on board this train? And it's I think I don't know where Dune is on the sort of percentile of like we don't use AI and we're like completely AI pilled. I think we're closer to the AI pilled clearly, but like it's hard to know where exactly how far can you actually go on this stuff, because it seems like there are like drips of crazy productivity in here.
Sure. So how does that mean that you're thinking about structuring the company, right? Like obviously before this I mentioned that we wanted to talk about the Coinbase stuff and kind of touch on that as an anchor. What does that kind of mean for you guys thinking about like forward thinking in terms of how you're structuring the company? What does that actually mean?
Yeah, I think at a sort of basic level, it's all about like making sure that, so up until now, we've made sure that everybody can like try any tool, and there's a few golden paths, right? Like earlier this year, we migrated our golden path from like Cursor to Claude Code. And that's sort of like the number one thing we do. We have, certain individuals who just are bankrupting the company on tokens, essentially. Like our spend is just going absolutely crazy. So I think we have to like figure out how to manage that a little bit. I think we're still in the sort of like naive, like let's throw everything into the fire and let's just see what happens. Yeah. So I don't have like concrete answers as to like what it's going to do to the engineering org, but I do think that it pushes you to think about smaller groups of people, like going from teams of 8, which is I think the norm in the tech industry, to like what can multiple teams of 3 do, or 2.
Yeah.
Right? Like what does that look like if you give somebody more ownership and more agency and just infinite tokens? Like what happens then? I think we see sort of 2 things at the same time with these like Coinbase announcements. It's like, one, managers are now expected to have like 15 individual reports. Which sounds like a pretty big team, but at the same time you have like experiments with like, oh, what if there's just like one person and agents? Is that a team?
Sure.
So I think like basically it's being pushed into 2, like from the middle and out into 2 extremes a little bit. But the commonality is that like the individual has more agency and is expected to deliver more output because they have the ability to direct these agents.
So you're almost like benchmarking employees on like how much they're shipping. Is that fair?
Yeah. So I think most engineering orgs do like track the number of PRs, the number of tickets that are closed. Like we don't really use that as like a source of truth for anyone's performance. It's one data point, right? But it's really useful in this age of AI to like actually try and measure the efficiency of the measures that we put in, right? Everybody gets infinite Claude Code. Well, if that increases our costs by 1 million a year, and doesn't do anything to our baseline productivity, well, that was a bad experiment, right?
Yeah.
But so those are the things we do. We collect the data and we can like evaluate.
Sure.
Yeah,
Well, dude, look, we're fresh out of time, but thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Keep killing it, and give us updates whenever you want.
Thanks for having me.
Dude, absolute pleasure. Have a good one.
See you soon. Before we have our next guest on, Polymarket, the world's largest prediction market. Stay informed and profit from your knowledge. Go to polymarket.com. Next on the show, we have Jeremy Epling, CPO at Vanta, live from VantaCon, I believe. Jeremy, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
How's it going?
Let's go, dude. How is it?
Good. Yeah, nice to be on the show. Thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure to have you. What's going on at VantaCon? Break it down. We've got, I think, this head of security at Synthesia is also coming on after you to tune in to give us an update. But let's hear it from the horse's mouth. How's it going?
Oh yeah, I mean it's a great event. This is our third year doing VantaCon in the UK, and it has just exploded and grown so much. We have so many attendees here. I mean, a couple big things for us that we're launching this week is the Trust Graph. How we think about that is really security, compliance, all this data. Vanta really started in 2018 with automation at the heart of what we do, moving from point in time, kind of audit-based manual processes to continuous compliance and security. And we're just continuing to expand this out. So when you talk to security teams, they have their suppliers, their risks, their controls, all these different frameworks they're managing, all these different assets. And what the Trust Graph allows us to do is pull all that data together to really make our Vanta agent even smarter and to help it do even more work for customers. So we think of the Vanta agent as that 24/7 GRC engineer that's like another person that's joined your team. And the best part of it is you can have multiple of them kind of working in the background all the time, helping you remediate security issues. And because it has this breadth of knowledge, it can pull together all these different pieces to help companies move faster, especially with a really fast changing AI landscape.
So how at Vanta are you guys building, how do you think about building and how do you think about, or how do you want your employees to be thinking about building, prototyping with AI, building different things and all of that kind of stuff, and then actually kind of like putting it into production and putting it in front of the eyes of customers?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think for us, probably like many other companies, we're in rapid AI adoption. And that's definitely something we hear from our customers as well. They're thinking about the security concerns of rapid AI adoption, but they also see these amazing benefits. So I think everyone is trying to figure out how do we balance these two things together? I mean, for us, whether it's leveraging Claude Code or OpenAI or Cursor or any of these other tools. Lovable is a amazing product we use for prototyping and also one of our customers. So we leverage all these today. And then from a security perspective, the Vanta agent actually plugs into all these tools. So you can use our agent directly. You can actually use our Claude Code plugin. You can leverage our MCP server through Slack or anything. So you talked about product development. I think one of the things we see is security and compliance as being at the heart of that. And so that shift left movement that's happened in security and in development, Vanta now helps you really be on top of security and compliance from day one when you're building that product.
Yeah. Let's talk about that for a quick sec, because I know that you guys are crushing right now. We saw CEO announce 300 million ARR just like a week ago. Absolutely insane. Just nuts to see. Really, really cool. Is there, how are you guys approaching this sort of agentic security world? Like a lot of people are talking about, we've seen what can happen with the rise of this stuff, right? When Mythos was released, like cybersecurity is a lot hotter now. But naturally, I'm sure that attention would then flow back to Vanta. This is what you guys do. It's what you do best. Like, how has this affected how you're approaching product? How has it affected, the org as a whole? Like, is it something that you guys are thinking about?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the 300 million milestone was like a huge milestone. I think of this as just like a single point in time of this continuous journey we've seen customers go on where, in the past, they looked at these audits, they happened annually. Maybe you would do a risk assessment of your suppliers once a year, and if you're a large enterprise, you can't even get through like all of them in a given year. And so I look at AI as just accelerating that and forcing people to go change faster because they are seeing this massive new wave of kind of AI threats and attacks that are coming in. There's more vulnerabilities found in the supply chain than there ever have been. People are producing, I think, more software will be produced probably the next year than has been produced in the last 10 years. And so I think it's really putting a large strain on these companies where, hey, you need to move fast and security needs to keep up. So they're looking for solutions like Vanta and the Vanta AI agent and kind of our trust graph and platform to help them keep pace with all of these changes. So it's kind of what we saw before around continuous monitoring and security. It's just now been supercharged because the threat landscape, AI evolves like every single day. It's hard to kind of keep up with every new thing that's happening. And so we need kind of these agents to help move the security team forward, solve these problems for them kind of 24/7 as they're happening in the background. So kind of see this larger shift just to more automation that's happening. And Vanta has kind of been at the heart of that from day one. We just see even more urgency from these companies to do it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So awesome. Another question, I guess, like more about the org itself. Like you are the CPO. Like how are, and I assume you probably talk with other enterprise CPOs from time to time. How are CPOs thinking about structuring like the product orgs in 2026 with this, with where AI is at today? Like how has that changed? How do you think about it at Vanta? What are you hearing from other CPOs? Would love to find out.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot has changed. I definitely look at it, a lot of CPOs will talk about engineering, product, and design as this triad that's working together. And what we see is just the roles are kind of collapsing and blending to me in ways that are really exciting, because I feel like if you're kind of stuck just doing one job in one way and in your lane, you're not really getting that like tension and good conversations that produce like amazing products. You need some amount of that understanding the other disciplines and how it works. I think we're seeing, waterfall development kind of like died a long time ago, but just people jumping right into code. Like when we think about our product managers or a developer or a designer, I'm just like, spend less time like writing a PRD of what you want to go do, and let's just build a prototype now. So we've been leveraging Lovable V0 for like years at this point, just to be like, one of my catchphrases internally is like, seeing is believing. Like, I don't want to like read a doc. I just want to like see the experience. So like, show me what this customer experience will be, and let's get a prototype, and then let's start shipping that and getting feedback on it and these super fast feedback loops. And so I think the future is people being able to cross across the different disciplines, and like a PM that can do a little bit of design and build prototypes, an engineer that has this product sense and can think about like what a good user flow will be as well. So I think everyone is kind of seeing that. We're still trying to figure out exactly what the kind of the shape of these teams are, but I think anyone that's kind of leaning into it, excited about working with customers and has that entrepreneurial spirit of just like, I want to build and ship something, they're going to be the like people that are kind of leading tech in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I when I was doing some research, I think, and tell me if this is wrong, and probably not a direct quote, but the thing that I saw was like one of the fastest ways to get promoted as a PM was emphasizing like killing projects that don't matter and knowing when to let go. Can you talk to us a little bit about that? Is that your philosophy? Is that correct? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's a really important skill. I mean, I think creating clarity and focus is like one of the most important things I try to do in my job and encourage the team to go do, and like making decisions quickly. And so I think you always have these hard trade-offs, and a lot of times it's really easy to stretch a team really thin and say like, hey, we've got 10 engineers, let's have them all do different things there. And then you just don't make progress on the most important things. You need to be willing to put yourself out there and kill projects. Like if I think of when I kind of got promoted from being a junior PM to a senior PM, I remember it was actually because I killed a big project that I was working on, and I spent 3 or 4 months like planning this thing out, and then I looked at it and then I saw the overall priorities of our business, and I was like, you know what, this isn't as important as something else. We should kill this project, and like if I need to go work on something else, that's fine, but I'd rather have like my whole team doing something that's really going to move our business forward. And so to me, that was kind of this career defining moment for me of like one, seeing rewarded for that, but also just like letting me really understand that like creating that clarity, making those hard trade-offs, that's the most important thing that you kind of go do, I think, as a business leader.
Sure.
Nice. A question, like you mentioned, like the like junior, senior PMs, like when you're bringing people into the team now, like I guess the product division, obviously we're starting to see this Venn diagram of all these different departments somewhat overlap. But when you're bringing people into the product team, like talk to us a little bit about like what's the gauge on AI skills? Is it just like a non-negotiable? They have to be like experts with most of the tools. They have to be fully aware of what's going on. And does that, is that all the way up to like a really senior position? Like what's this like, I guess, for for CPOs nowadays? Is this just a non-negotiable part of the hiring process?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it is. I mean, I think for us, when we look at our interview process, whether it be for engineering, product, and design, a key part of that is show us something that you have built with AI. And what we're looking for is like those skills. What tool do you use? Do you have that like entrepreneur spirit where you want to just go build and create? And, how have you done it in your job? But like also, what are you doing kind of in your spare time to build? Because it became so much easier to become a builder just in the last couple of months, let alone the last couple of years. So I think that is really key. It also shows a lot of drive and ownership when I think about it from the interview process, which is really what makes people successful at Vanta. When we can give someone an ambiguous problem and they just tackle it and jump in there, talk to customers and just start creating things and moving forward. One of our company principles is bias for action. So I think that's a big part of this that really leads into it. So yeah, I think all these roles are changing. Even when I think about our operational functions, a lot of what we're looking at there is not people who can run a great process, but people who can build an agent to run that process. And that is the most valuable thing that we can go and do, is actually create that agent, create that automation to go run the process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. I'm pretty sure you've got your keynote or speech coming up, or have you already done it? Is that right?
It's actually coming up in, I think, like 15 minutes. So right when I'm done here, I'm going to jump up there. Christina goes ahead of me, and then I'm going to walk through a bunch of the new product features that we've got.
Can we get like a sneak peek? Like, what are we talking about at the keynote?
Yeah, definitely. We have a couple exciting things, as you would imagine with most companies. We've invested a ton in the Vanta AI agent. So we are announcing that we have custom agents coming where you can build and direct our agent to build your own automation. We have agent skills that are coming. We have this whole trust graph around how we're constantly improving the intelligence of our agent. I think one of the big things people want to know is like, how are you different than OpenAI or Claude Code or how you're building on top? Yeah. One of the big things we've invested is we have a large team of security experts here that we call our SMEs, or subject matter experts, that we're constantly working with former auditors and GRC professionals to help tune and improve our AI. We have a big investment in privacy coming out now. So we're really excited around ROPA, DPIA, GDPR, security, compliance, privacy. So big investment there with automation and AI. And then finally, we have a new product called customer commitments. So when you think about, if you're selling software, you're going to sign a contract with someone, there's going to be a bunch of red lines. Today, a lot of legal teams and security teams just lose those. They don't know what they've actually committed to which customers. If a breach happens, if a security incident happened, when they add a sub-processor, they don't know who to contact and in what timeline, and then are in breach of contract or other issues that can come up. So we have a product that with our AI automatically analyzes all those commitments, integrates them into your security program, and helps streamline that entire process of communicating, getting back to your customers. So a couple of new products and then some big foundational investments with the trust graph and the Vanta agent.
Yeah. Operationally, how does the last one work? Does it just is it like an intermediary in between like both stakeholders?
Yeah.
Is that how it works?
So you can basically, let's say you went and sold your software to Acme Corp. Sure. They come in and then go through, and then you have this whole negotiation. You can either manually upload the contract, or if you have a contract management piece of software like Ironclad, we automatically integrate with that. We ingest kind of all those contract details, and then we look through for the specific security commitments that you've made. We can compare those to your standard, paper that you signed the contract on, and tell you what the differences are, and then keep track of those. So if you say you had an obligation in there that said, hey, if there's a critical security vulnerability, this customer needs to know within 8 hours. We'll go ahead, track that, and then we'll automatically create the email and the notification. We'll pull in all the information you need to help you complete that entire workflow, so it doesn't kind of get lost in the ether of a contract, the legal team sorting through. Last thing you want to be is in the middle of an incident trying to coordinate all these pieces. So we kind of streamline that entire process for customers.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah. Look, like we've got like 20 seconds left, so look, we can let you get back to preparing for the keynote. But yeah, thanks for jumping in. Really appreciate it. And looks like an awesome day over there. So
definitely. And yeah, as you mentioned, I think Synthesia is coming on next, and it's been an amazing partner. I was just meeting with them yesterday of what they built with the Vanta agent on top of our MCP server. So yeah, I think you'll probably hear a little bit more from them of what they've been doing with Vanta and the Vanta agent as well.
Let's go.
Nice.
Can't
Love
wait,
it.
man. Look,
Good
have
stuff.
a blast. Thanks for joining us.
Great. Yeah. Thanks for having me. Bye.
Cheers, Jeremy.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers.
We
Let's go.
have
Live from VantaCon. We've got Martin
Indeed.
on next, head of security at Synthesia.
Also live from VantaCon. But before we do that,
everyone's live at VantaCon right
indeed, the infrastructure for the on-chain world base is built to empower builders, creators, and people everywhere to build apps, grow businesses, create what they love, and earn on-chain. Go to base.org. We are expecting Martin to be coming in the studio soonish.
now. Any minute, Martin will be joining us.
Indeed.
So a little bit on what we're going to be discussing, broadly speaking, applied AI company building an enterprise software platform. Why is enterprise different from consumer with regards to security? Why is security at the model layer different to the platform layer? We're going to be getting it right from the horse's mouth from the head of security at Synthesia. I'm also realizing now that in terms of the Synthesia team, we have had CFO, CEO, chief of staff, now head of security.
We're getting there.
And we also have a jersey. Do we have the jersey? Is the jersey here? Let's get the jersey up.
That wasn't good.
That wasn't good. Look at this bad boy. This is from a while back.
There you go.
Look at that. We should be. Damn. We should have.
Should I put it on?
What, right now?
Yeah.
Get it on. Is that going to work?
I don't know. Let's go.
Hey, rapping. Let's go.
I've got the double collar going. No, we can just forget about the collars.
Hold the, get the, maybe if you move.
Can everyone see? Oh, wait. Let's just move that way.
Look at that. Wait, hold they're not the badge, the logo.
Oh, we've lost screen.
We've lost the screen.
Okay, there we go. Well, I'm gonna wear this for the interview.
That looks
looking
fresh. Hello, Martin. How's it going? No, not at all. Luke was just putting on his Synthesia jersey, actually, that we've got. I'm not sure if you can see. Is that even showing?
Who gave it? Was it Stefan?
Yeah, I think so.
I think Stefan gave this to us when we joined.
Synthesia on there. Do you have one of these, or is this like a rare?
Well, there you go.
Pretty rare, huh? We thought we get it on for the interview. Martin, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. You are calling in live from VantaCon, right?
Yes, that is correct. Thank you for having me.
Let's go. No, our pleasure. Tell us more about the day. What's going on over there?
At VantaCon, lots of good stuff. Lots of good talks about AI governance, security, trust, operations. Streamlining, automating all the compliance management. It's really energetic here.
Let's go. You love to hear it. We were just saying that this would be from Synthesia side. We've now had on CEO, CFO, and also chief of staff. So it's amazing to welcome you into that roster. Jumping straight in, can we talk about, security as a whole, but why is enterprise different from consumer with this sort of stuff? Why is the security at the model layer different from the platform layer? Would love to hear more from you.
Yeah, happy to talk a little bit about all of this. So our security program, if we take a step back and talk a little bit about, what is it driven by and why? So we are, as you say, an enterprise company. And what that means is that, to a significant degree, our efforts are shaped by the procurement requirements, security requirements that we're seeing from our customer base, enterprise customers, which is, in a traditional sense, there's a lot of the traditional security requirements reflected in things like SOC 2 or ISO 27001, but nowadays also more and more around AI governance specifically. So AI governance, both as part of the product, for example, ISO 42001, but then also as part of how AI is utilized within the organization. So for agentic coding, but also for productivity purposes.
Yeah. And that. Sorry to cut in. There's something interesting you said there. Like, how are these enterprise companies thinking about? I think we're kind of seeing a rise in non-technical people using these coding tools internally. Like, and it's a great thing. People should be doing that. We need to be a lot more AI native. Is there like a security concern with that? Like, is there something that you have to do to make sure everything is okay? Because surely you'll be like, oh no, like why are we? Like, is there like an element where you have to be like, okay, if we're gonna do this, we need to do this, this, and this? Like, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So AI has a huge impact on security everywhere across all the different layers, be it internal risk or code generation, or as part of kind of like the external models that we integrate into our platform.
Yeah.
I could write a book about every single one of those articles. In fact, I have a conference talk about it in a second. I would say stay tuned. Actually, we're very soon on this topic publishing a blog post about how we've achieved like Mythos level security review capabilities with deeper models. So, I mean, yes, there are huge security concerns around all of this, and AI governance has to be applied, in my opinion, at all the different layers, be it the endpoint, be it the application layer, be it cloud infrastructure, the browser itself. Even you have to differentiate between endpoint and browser. So there is a huge amount of work that goes into this, and it is to a large degree different from what we've done traditionally or historically. So even experienced CISOs, is what I'm seeing now, have to take a step back and change kind of like their mindset and go back into learning mode and approach this as a new thing, as a new paradigm, which is really interesting. It's really interesting to see this happening.
So for the other CISOs in the space right now, like what's the biggest thing that they're kind of talking about, and the thing that is maybe keeping them up all night? Because I imagine this must be, as you say, it's kind of changed the whole game, right? There must be something that you guys just constantly, think about.
I like to say that it is a little bit like, or to a large degree, it is a catalyst for security risks. So if there are, everything is faster, right? Everything is faster, and more people can do more things that maybe they haven't historically been able to do. So if there are gaps in your security control fabric anywhere, with AI, those gaps will be uncovered faster. They will be exploited faster. You're going to have more incidents faster. So you have to adopt it also as a security team. You need to lean into it also, because otherwise you can't keep up. And to answer your question, sorry. So what is kind of like the key concern within AI and AI governance? I mean, shadow IT, shadow AI, should we call it that? Even understanding, like, that's the baseline, right? Like, even have an idea of who's running what type of AI where and why, and what are we doing with it. It's a huge concern, and I haven't yet seen like the silver bullet to that. That's number one. And then once you have that, the next step is figuring out, is okay, now we know kind of who's running what where, but what are they actually doing with it, and can we govern that? Can we like put a stop to it if somebody does something naughty? That is different from what we can do with our traditional security tooling, like CSPMs, EDRs. They are not geared for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I guess just like a complete like landscape change. So a hot topic that seems to be getting thrown out quite a lot at the moment is this sort of agentic security protocol thing. Like, we need to see, like, if we do have agents running, where do they have access? Like, what do they have access to? Is that a particular gateway into our company from maybe someone with bad intentions? Like, there's a whole conversation going on about like that agentic security profile. Like, is this I think we had a guy from Octane Security on the other day mentioning that he thinks that billions and billions and billions will flow into this agentic security market that seems to be emerging right now as the agentic space takes off. Any thoughts on that? Are you seeing anything?
Yeah, 100% in my opinion. I mean, this is somewhat parallel to what we saw with CSPMs or CNAP, and even further than that, EDRs back in the day. It's a new paradigm, and of course, investment will find its way into that paradigm.
Yeah. Really interesting. So let's talk about Synthesia. You've got a talk coming up at the moment. Can you give us a sneak peek as to what the talk's floated around? Any sort of topics you're particularly excited to cover?
Yeah, I mean, AI governance is a big part of it, and how we approach some of this and our thoughts of it, and how we also utilize AI to keep up or even hopefully stay ahead of the rest of the organization. How we adopt AI within security reviews, like I said, vulnerability triaging, but then also trust operations, right? Like how we can keep up with the scaling of Synthesia, with a relatively small team on the trust operations side, by applying AI to answering security questionnaires or questions, but also then policy reviews, security requirement reviews, etc. All of this, and then how we can use all of that and use our Vanta trust portal as kind of like the presentation layer of trust, and just all of our collective security efforts into that one pane to allow our commercial team to close deals and renew at speed and at scale with a small team on the security side.
Yeah. Is it are your customers specifically asking for this then? Is it like, part of the deal cycle is to go through the security efforts that you guys are making?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, for the majority of our core customer demographic, which again is enterprise customers, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
fine.
I'm not going to name names, but I think it's no secret that we serve something like 60-70% of the Fortune 500.
Yeah.
I mean, this is where we put a lot of our efforts, right? And this is 100%. It's part of the deal circle. I think the one metric that I like to share is that with our efforts on the trust side, what we've been told and what we can kind of like measure is that we are cutting around 2 weeks of the average deal cycle by having all of these efforts again distilled into that presentation layer of trust. Right?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. That's insane.
Yeah, it's a huge part of the business, of course.
Yeah. Is that just purely because that you don't have to go through all of these different all of the data is just in one portal? That's why. Yeah.
Well, that's part of it, right? But then also all the AI tooling that supports this.
Sure.
So, for example, we have on the trust portal also an AI agent that our customers or potential customers can kind of like talk to as a first instance for security questions, which is then in turn it's trained on all of our security information. And we see that deflecting a huge number of external questions. Or just they can self-serve and they can have that conversation. That frees up my team and the rest of the team.
Interesting. And one last question, we can let you run off before this. But what is how are like CISOs using AI today? Like, is there an element here where this is changing even your life? Not from a perspective of like, oh, for God's sake, I've got to tell my whole company to be a bit more like on it with everything. But is there a way that you're seeing it change your work? Are you seeing efficiency gains, time reductions?
1,000,000%. I alluded a little bit to it earlier. So, I mean, we've been, I would argue, early adopters of AI technology on the security side. So we're adopting it from like everywhere from reviewing the code that is written by our engineering team in a faster and better way. That's a blog post as I mentioned earlier. It's coming soon. We're using it to automate the vulnerability triaging that we're seeing, or like it's security alerts and vulnerability triaging. Threat hunting, we are using it to answer security questions. So 100%, without AI, we could not have scaled as non-linearly on the security team as we have over the last 2 years. So there's 1,000,000% efficiency and effectiveness gains coming from AI on the security team.
That's so cool. You love to hear it. We know you've got a talk coming up, so we can maybe let you go and jump back into VantaCon. But it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for joining us. And it's always good to catch up with the Synthesia team. Luke's going to keep on his Synthesia journey for the rest of the day now.
Love it. Love to see it.
Of course.
I'm going to talk to my boss to get one.
Yeah, we feel bad. And maybe it's a one-on-one. I can't remember. It was from the room with the Jensen whiskey bottle.
Yeah.
Which
So
is
you never
maybe
know.
super secret room.
Anyway, good luck with your talk, and we'll see you soon.
Cheers, Martin.
Thanks so much. Have a good one.
Ciao, dude. Have a good one.
Good stuff. Base, the infrastructure for the on-chain world. Base is built to empower builders, creators, people everywhere to build apps, grow businesses, create what they love, and earn on-chain. Go to base.org.
We've got Fredrik Hjelm coming into the stream very shortly. He's the founder and CEO of Void Technology, but more recently, the founder and co-founder of Pit. They've just raised 16 million from A16Z. So let's bring Fredrik into the stream.
Launched today,
we'll get him online right now. What an honor it is to sit down with Fredrik. Fredrik, can you hear me? I can, dude. Let's go. Congratulations. What a day. Huge launch.
Great to be on again. I was on a couple of months ago, but then we talked only about mobility, but we talked a bit about AI as well.
Let's go, man. Break down the news. This literally came out this morning.
This morning.
Yeah. What's going on over there? What is Pit? Everyone wants to know.
Everyone wants to know. So Pit is a company I founded together with this guy, Adam. He's the CEO of Pit. He also co-founded Voy with me, and another co-founder of Voy, our CTO from Voy, two of Klarna's AI leads. And basically, Pit is based on learnings we had at Voy and Klarna for 3 years. So we used LLMs to build a lot of internal custom LLM-powered systems. First, to replace software licenses. So SaaS is dead and all of that. We were the ones actually doing it, replacing those software licenses. But then we saw an even bigger opportunity. So we could build custom software, LLM-powered, that mirrored human workflows, which looked very much like an opportunity for us to be able to replace human manual labor-intensive processes with digital labor, with custom software that performs work. So Pit is really the answer to that. As we set it up last summer, we've spent the first half a year on building out product and platform since January. We're live with very, very large customers, real enterprise customers within telco, within industrials, within healthcare, now retail, financial services, and mobility, of course. Voy was the first design test customer. It's now the smallest customer. So we're very excited. And Andreessen Horowitz led a round, quite big round for being the first round coming out of stealth. But we also have some of the world's best founders, operators, and some of Europe's largest industrial families on the cap table.
Amazing. Huge
what,
dude.
What an entrance.
What an entrance.
Flying off the start.
We hit it hot.
Talk to us about the conversations with A16Z. We know them pretty well. How do they go? Because I actually just read your recent X post about how it kind of all came to be. Would love to hear it from you.
I wrote on X today that A16Z is the most powerful tech investor in the world. And now we as founders, having them on our cap table and as partners, have felt that firsthand. Yeah. So I got to know Ben Horowitz a couple of years ago. He literally flew around the world to scout for great ecosystems, great countries, which countries outside of the US could become like real startup nations. So he came to Sweden. We had a day with the Swedish founders, investors, politicians. We met some ministers. We became friends. We stayed in touch. Some time later, when we had decided to build Pit, they were the first ones we called. And being A16Z, they moved extremely fast. And we didn't really need money. But what we wanted was, of course, like the strongest of partners. And in A16Z, we got that. It's been super impressive to see how they work, how they support the companies. With the launch today, with intros, with talent. So we're very happy to have them with us.
Awesome. Let's go. And let's talk a little bit about why now. So, you mentioned these learnings that you've had, you and your co-founder from Voy, and then also some of these AI leads at Klarna. You felt the pain. The pain is real. This comes from a personal lived experience. Can you maybe just give an example of like, what was the specific problem you guys were seeing or experiencing and thinking like, hey, this needs to be solved and we are the ones to do it?
No, so turn back pretty much a year from now. We had used LLMs to build this like internal custom software systems that plugged into existing critical software systems like our ERP, CRM, and so on. So they were either then replacing previous SaaS licenses. So we replaced a lot of the mid and long tail SaaS, so not the critical systems like the ERP and CRM. Klarna tried to do that as well. They didn't manage. It's very difficult to do. But we replaced a lot of the IT automation software we paid a lot for. The marketing intelligence, competitive intelligence, regulatory intelligence tools, things like that. But then when we started to build these systems that also mirrored human workflows, we unlocked a lot of time for the organization, for humans, which in some situations we used on other things to do more of something that humans are uniquely good at. And in some situations we just reduced staff and did the same number of outputs. But then we ran into normal software lifecycle management issues. So what about the evolution of the system, maintenance of the systems? Adam here was basically spending all his time on DevOps because the procurement or marketing person that we had built the system for wanted to change something and there was a bug. And Pit was basically the answer to that. So how can we build like a platform that does the work of a fully AI-empowered human product and software development team, including automated evolution and maintenance. And I sometimes use the word everything that's built on the Pit platform. It's custom software, but it needs to be self-maintainable and self-healing.
Sure.
Because eventually we will have millions of custom software systems out there at real companies with their regulations and compliance and so on. We cannot throw bodies at it to solve evolution maintenance. It needs to be platformized. And I think it will be the first company in the world that does that. And if you do that, you for sure have a good shot at building a $1 trillion company.
Yeah, for sure. That's super interesting. What's the what does the future look like then for software? Do you feel that all of these enterprise companies and everyone else, who a little bit earlier than that, everyone will have their own personalized software for their company? Is that how you see the future being for software?
Eventually, yes. Because why sit in something static that you have adjusted and adopted your way of working and operational processes and so on to, while in a Gen I era, Gen, it's generative. So you have unlimited intelligence at your fingertips. But what's difficult today is how do you steer this intelligence, especially in an enterprise or government setting, on the right thing, solving for the enterprise or government's requirements on security, on compliance, on permissioning, things like that, on hosting. Do they have? Can they only touch critical business data on their own prem, or are they fine doing it on cloud? Things like that.
Yeah.
So that's really what we're building Pit for. It's for the customer. It's bring your own stack and your requirements and so on. We go in, we build the custom software for you to unlock a lot of time for humans, and then we run it for you. And we guarantee uptime and SLAs and value created.
Yeah, it gets me really excited. It's kind of like we covered a while back, like Julian Beck's. The next $1 trillion company will be a software company masquerading.
Software company masquerading as a service firm. Yeah, Pit is that company.
And so this is 100%, man. Talk to us about what Julian's saying here, because you guys you're selling outputs, right? And we're seeing this. This is the origination, I think, where this idea was kind of. People have been talking about it for a little bit, but that went viral. We're starting to see a shift in. This is starting. Super, super, super early. I think you guys are the first one that I've actually seen do this. Talk to us about that mindset. Talk to us about that $1 trillion sort of output, because it seems like you guys are just doing exactly what Julian mentioned in his write-up, which is really cool to see. But these talks must have been going on for a while.
Julian is investment partner at Sequoia, and he's right on a lot of things in that one. I read it a couple of months ago. Now I don't remember the exact details, but I guess what he's saying is in today's world, still humans want to kind of interact and work with humans. So it looks like a services firm, but on the back end, all the work that's being done is done agentically by software. If you take an IT consultancy as an example, if you take Capgemini or Accenture, they are services firm. That is a services firm. If you, for example, work with Pit, it feels like a services firm. We're having very senior engineers working with you. But in reality, 99% of the work is done. And I'll give you one cool example. So we're building out this digital forward deployed engineer or solutions engineer. So when me or our engineers are at a customer meeting, we're talking through, we're building X, Y, Z. They have some feedback, feature requests, and so on. In the traditional world, then software development team would go home, they would regroup, they would plan, they would write out the code. In the Pit world today, what happens then, we have, of course, our AI note taker in the call that's trained as a solutions engineer. So a minute after the call is finished, full transcription, the digital solution note taker, Pit engineer, basically takes that, triages it, makes it into PRs, pull requests. We run automatic evals on them. So eventually when our engineer is back 40 minutes later, all feedback from the customer is already incorporated and ready to be merged, evaled by our kind of digital senior engineers already, and they just press merge, and then get back to the customer and said feedback incorporated, which is like sci-fi.
Yeah. This is we're starting to come into the sci-fi world. It's so interesting watching this this market emerge before our eyes. We were chatting earlier about Brian Armstrong's tweet the other day. There was a slight reduction in the Coinbase teams, but the core thesis around this, I mean, we're seeing this in a lot of these publicly traded companies now. They're framing like AI as the reason, and he specifically is setting up these AI SWAT team pods almost, right? Pods of one, where heavily enabled individuals, and I'm seeing parallels to, again, it's not, I'm seeing like parallels to what you guys are doing in terms of like you're kind of deploying a SWAT team to solve this problem. There's like an AI SWAT team, right? Like,
exactly.
What's your take on this future of work with that regard?
I mean, we are able to do, when we go in and work with very large customers in the real economy, regulated industries also. Say a couple of years ago, you would need probably a full McKinsey team and a full, very senior software team to do what me and one of our engineers now can do in a couple of days. So that's really the difference. We have, again, unlimited intelligence at our fingertips. What's still very difficult is how you steer it and how you tame and mitigate and control the LLMs, which by default are probability machines. That's very much what PIT is about. Standardize whatever is possible to standardize in the whole kind of factory process, from gathering context from a business user or a process owner or a non-technical user, and take it into enterprise-grade systems, deploy them, and then have automated evolution and maintenance.
Sure.
So cool.
It's a very cool time to build now. Thanks to AI, it's also a very great time to build in Stockholm. I mean, you see that Stockholm is, I would say, by far, per capita for sure, the leading tech hub in Stockholm now. London, of course, is larger because you live in such a large city, but in Stockholm you also have the density. Like in the building I'm sitting now, it's called Founders House. It's 4 or 5 floors full of startups. I have my other office, Voi. I see it there. I see Klarna, Spotify there. Everything is within 10 minutes radius. So then you get network effects, which you typically only get in Silicon Valley and like Tel Aviv.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Let's talk about Voi for a quick second if we can. I mean, I have a question.
Do you have different offices now? So you're gonna have to like, how does it work? You got to split the time. Is that how it works?
My office is here.
I love it. Okay,
I can work wherever. On a plane, in a forest, in this office, and that, in your office.
Let's see. Come work in our studio.
I'll come over next time.
Next time you're in London. Let's talk about Voi super quickly. I saw something the other day. Dua Lipa was taking a selfie, and all the Voi scooters were in the background. And I thought that maybe she's working at marketing for Voi. Any messages for Dua Lipa as well?
We kidnapped her Instagram photo and used it as our marketing.
That's good.
Take it till you make it. I hope to meet her one day. But we also had, do you know Dembele, the football player in the French one? Yeah, he won the Ballon d'Or last year. He actually posted on his social media last week when he and his guys were biking around on Voice in Paris. So there's a lot of celebrity support for Voi at the moment.
Which celebrities love Voi.
Celebrities love Voi. They should.
That's so sick. I should the slogan. Celebrities.
They look so much better than the green ones, the alternative.
Yeah, so let's talk about it. Why are they all green? Like, we have green like Lime bikes here. Everything's green, but Voi have this this unique. It's like a rose red. It's beautiful.
Yeah, like coral red.
Coral red. Well, give us a quick, how are things at Voi? Just like super quick update. I mean, today's about PIT, but I just wanted to get a temperature check. How are things going on?
No, really good. The last 2 years have been good. We're on year 8 now. The first 5 years were super choppy and volatile. But since we became profitable and generating operating cash flow 2 years ago, Voi has really been a machine, growing with 30 to 45% year over year per quarter. The products are great. Competition is losing. The team is great. Regulations have stabilized and strong tailwinds. London is one example. So we feel very good about Voi at the moment.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. You're hitting like record revenues. I mean, this quarter, what was it? 38% year on year.
Yeah, year over year, Q1 is the weakest quarter due to weather. We see it's becoming critical infrastructure. In London, you've had a lot of tube strikes recently. Then Voi, of course, is stepping in, moving people around. We gave away free day passes even one day to support you Londoners in your daily life. So,
We love it.
We appreciate
love
that,
it.
especially during the tube strikes.
Well,
as well.
I'm a Voi user in London, so yeah. Thanks for your service, sir.
And more to come. We're scaling the e-bike fleet a lot this year. London will become the largest city for Voi, I think, within, say, 1-2 years. So we invest a lot in London.
Amazing.
Someone has to,
Exactly.
It's you, Fredrik. Thank you so much for joining us. Congrats on the news with Peer. It's always good to catch up. Have a good one.
See you.
Good stuff. See you soon. Amazing stuff. Leave outdated business banking behind with Airwallex, the all-in-one financial platform built for the pace of modern business, multi-currency accounts, corporate cards, expense management, online payments, all-in-one platform. Go to airwallex.com. Next on the show, we have Medhi, Rais, I think it is, co-founder at Davis AI. Did I just completely butcher that?
No, it was okay. I mean, for first try, it was pretty good. It's mainly Rais, yeah.
Rais. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Medhi Rais. How's it going, sir?
Really good. Thank you for having me, guys.
No, welcome to the show. It's good to have you on. Congratulations on the news as well. You've got a 5.5 million pre-seed round, going even earlier. Walk us through this. I mean, I saw friends of the stream, Boulderton Capital were involved. Tell us about the news. Congratulations. This is awesome.
Thank you so much. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the raise was done in November maybe. So basically, we've done EF program, the summer program in a castle in Germany. Then we went to SF, and everything happened pretty fast. We've done the demo day by mid-October, and then we wrapped up the round in 2 weeks, and was pretty much centered around who are the humans who won't be part of this adventure. And Rob from Balderturn and Max from Hardcore were the right ones. So pretty happy of how it turned out. And yeah, we're also lucky to have pretty amazing angels, members of the founding team of Spacemaker, who's one of the best acquisition made by Autodesk in the previous years, or amazing entrepreneurs I look up for, Amin Raji from Spore Bio, Thomas Wolf from Hugging Face, and people like this. So we're really happy.
Yeah, we've had the Spore Bio guys on before, so yeah, we really like those guys. Well, look, let's jump into what the plans are. I guess after the raise, obviously it's great to kind of get that behind you and really focus on what you guys are doing. So yeah, talk to us about the plan going forward.
Yeah, I mean, the raise have been done to focus a lot on R&D. So we're working a lot around the research we're perpetrating at Davis. Thanks to the hiring we're making at the moment. So it will be really, really focused on this, and also on the commercial traction that we have. So pretty much we have way more demand than arms. So it's all about expanding and hiring, and pretty much concentrating into research.
Let's go, dude. And the product breakdown, we noticed when we're doing research, well, maybe it's better you break it down for us. Architecture and real estate, tell us how this works. How do people engage with this product?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, we accelerate early stage of real estate development and architectural designs. We do so by being a service company. So we directly sell the output. So feasibility studies, architectural designs directly to investors, real estate developers in a fraction of time. And we do so thanks to two tech stacks. The first one is agentic workflows. They're going to parse all the data that is linked to a parcel. And this data is then translated into constraints that is conditioning the generation of scenarios. And this generation of scenarios is made in conjunction with humans in the loop. So we have our in-house architects working with us, and this is what enables us to go way faster than traditional workflows. So we're selling those kind of deliverables to real estate developers, and it's all about going way faster than everyone else.
Mm-hmm. And how does Davis kind of compress those early stage kind of development timelines, right? How does it actually kind of enable people to move faster?
Yeah, so on the last dozen of projects we've made during the previous month, it was a traditional 1.5 month timeline that we compress into 2 or 3 days. And then you have iterations that we can make directly with Davis and the humans in the loop with it. So they interact directly with us as a service. So we're not disrupting the workflows. this is something that we think is really important, is that prop tech missed the point the past decades. No one wants to learn how to use a new tool. They just want outcomes faster because time is everything in real estate. All the projects are that funded. So accelerating things is pretty much a really, really compelling value proposition for those guys.
Yeah, and you guys are, specifically kind of using a service-based model, kind of giving finished outputs directly to your customers. How does, there's obvious reasons why this is important, and that's the direction you're taking. But yeah, would love to hear it from you because, super interesting, and this is just going to start accelerating, in every other industry as well.
Absolutely. I think that this service play is the way you're able to be set to build a generational company in this AI era. For real estate in particular, it's pretty obvious. The first thing is prop tech missed the point. No one wants to learn how to use a new software. And it has not been the case for the past decades, other than Autodesk and Procore, for example. Mm-hmm. So it's all about going way faster because time is everything, like I said earlier, and all the projects are debt funded. So if you're trying to accelerate things, that made a lot of sense for clients. And so while doing so, you pretty much need also to have human that is central to the process because it's an industry that is based around trust and credibility. And this is why we have those humans in the loop, those architects working with us hand with hand with the technology directly. And this is the only way you can actually disrupt this industry without disrupting the workflows. We're not optimizing the workflows, we're just like totally suppressing them to go way faster.
Such a cool approach. So what's the founding story for this? Like, how did you, do you have a background in this, or like was it a personal experience, or?
Yeah,
thought, hey, that opportunity. That needs to be solved. I'm gonna go.
No, so it's a blend of all of those things. Like basically, I grew up in a family of architects. I grew up in Morocco actually, and I pretty much grew up on construction sites. And I almost became an architect. I didn't because of two reasons. The first one, an obvious lack of artistic talent, and the second one, I was really shocked by how slow things were going into this industry. And so, in Morocco, you have like 3 traditional jobs if you don't want your family to disrespect you. You have engineers, you have architects, and you have doctors. And at the end of the day, I went for way more bullshit studies, and this is what set me up in the path of building, not buildings, but building companies. And and I had a lot of luck because I met with my founding team quite early on. My CTO and co-founder, we met like 3 days before EF. He was set to do a PhD with DeepMind on discrete diffusion. And then he was just like, yeah, there is something really interesting to do in this huge $650 billion market. And also I can talk about Idris, who's our founding real estate partner, who has been like in the industry for the past 10 years. Dunya, who was our like talented investor at EF and that like ditched EF to come work with us. Everything happened quite fast, and when it's that obvious to have like that ambitious and talented people around, the founding story is just really pleasant to tell.
Yeah, that's so cool. Let's get a sense of like you mentioned you have some sort of founding design partners there. Any sort of like how are customers reacting to this? Is it changing? Is it just a complete like wow, this is changing my life? Like, what's the appetite been like?
Are your family back in Monaco using the product yet?
Yeah, they're not using the product because something interesting is that we're not tied by geography. Like we're not looking about like different geographies, but we're tied by the complexity of the market. The more there is data and regulations, more our service is interesting. In Morocco, you can do a feasibility with a pen and paper, so it's going quite fast, right? They don't need me at all at that point. But in countries like in Europe, when it's very fragmented and data heavy and regulations heavy, like in France, Switzerland, Poland, in Germany, or in the US when we started back in SF during the summer, these are the markets we're going after. And so, how they're reacting, that's pretty funny because in the beginning, they just don't believe us. And then we just like go ahead with those guys which are like, give us 2 days and then you'll see the output. And the last reaction I got from a customer was just like, okay, I got goosebumps. Let's do a full deployment on 30 projects for the next year. So this is a real shift that we're seeing in the industry. But you really need to talk the same language as them, and so you need to talk a service language a language that is also structured around fixed and variable revenue, and you really need to anchor yourself in the project economics and on the dynamics of the sector. And we're doing so by surrounding ourselves with experts, so like our founding real estate partner or the architects working with us. And yeah, we're pretty humble about the fact that Amin and I don't come from this specific industry, even if I have a family background that is linked to it. But we also think that this is a blessing, like being naive and retaking things from first principles, make you think of shortcuts that people anchoring into the workflows don't necessarily do.
Yeah, definitely. And then in terms of the so the customers, they come to you and they don't believe that things can move super quickly. They essentially just almost give their full project pipeline to you guys and say, hey, like this is what I'm going to go do. Do they then go off and go and sign more deals because they know that they have a longer pipeline to be able to deal with? Is that how it's sort of like working in their heads?
I mean, how we're working right now, so we're trying to create the most virtuous circle as possible with the clients we're working with. So we're agreeing on the volume of projects, for example, saying on the first year, and just saying, each specific project would be that cost in terms of fixed, in terms of variable revenue. And if you're doing more, then the unitary cost is just like decreasing with the volume. So they're actually incentivized to go and do way more things. And if our ROI is proven and immediate, they're doing more volume. So we have more work to do. So that's pretty much aligned interests. And they're not shocked by the approach because this is how they're working today with their consultants, project managers, architects. They're working with a fixed fee and the variable on the project. And the most successful project there is, the most everyone is happy in this industry.
Yeah, that's really cool. Let's talk about the money. Let's talk about how is this going to be deployed? Like, what's the plan for you? I mean, some amazing, as you said earlier, some amazing angels on board, and 2 really good co-leads. How are you thinking about deploying this? What's the hiring? You staying super lean? It sounds like you can stay lean for a while. Like, what's the plan?
Yeah, you also mentioned hiring, but like, because you're hiring architects, you're hiring them in all of these different markets. Is that how it works? Because they obviously know the regulation, they know how certain things work within. Yeah,
absolutely. The humans in the loop we were hiring are tightly linked to the projects we're perpetuating in different geographies. So the first thing is we're trying to solve a very difficult problem in terms of discrete diffusion and Gauge 1, which is the model we just launched. And this is something that is going to help us use a lot of money out of the fundraise by hiring a lot of like AI engineers and AI researchers to tackle this massive problem. So right now we're outperforming by far the literature, but it's not industrializable yet 100%. So we need to go way faster and double down on research. And then it's all about like commercial adoption and commercial expansion. And it comes with hiring architects, experts, and scaling the distribution, which is not an easy task.
Yeah, for sure. What's the what? And this is a very general question, but what do you see the kind of future of like city planning and architecture being then? Considering what you guys are doing at Davis.
I mean, I think I have like 2 really humble insights about the future of this industry. The first thing is we got the first revolution back in the 90s, going from drafting tables to digital software like Autodesk and stuff like this. It was the first time these workflows were actually disrupted. We think that there is a much more interesting revolution going with the AI era, which will lead us from an architect that is really linked to his production tasks to an architect that is linked to judgment, intuition, decision, thanks to paradigms like discrete diffusion that will be able to generate floor plans and architectural outputs way faster with an insane diversity and with great control over it. So this is the evolution of the work of the architect that we're seeing, and we really want to see the human keep being central into those processes. And the second thing is, I think that the best companies in the industry in the coming years will be the ones that are selling service without trying to absolutely disrupt the industry by selling software because it's not working, and verticalizing also as much as possible to capture as much value as they can. So today we are actually accelerating early stage development and architectural designs, but tomorrow we can go way further. I don't want to integrating with autonomous construction or even tomorrow vibe built cities. It's pretty much the ambition that all the team have here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I guess it's like, you like architecture on a commercial level, but then also like, office building level, but then also like homes is very, very different thing. Do you have to hire for those verticals and like kind of make a, conscious decision, right, we're going to go down this particular vertical within?
In terms of technology, the technology is agnostic to both asset types and geography. So this is pretty much convenient for us. So we can work with everyone and on all different type of projects. In terms of humans, this is different. So we're trying to hire really, really experienced and versatile architects that worked on really different projects. And when it's about to actually comply with a specific type of project or geography, we can also expand the team that way by keeping the structure as lean as possible.
Yeah, definitely. Well, look, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
Soon.
Congrats, bro. Really cool.
Bye. Thank you.
Good stuff.
Thanks, sir.
Good to meet you.
Nice.
Framer, build better sites faster. The all-in-one platform where enterprise teams design, build, ship, production-ready websites. No dev handoff, no bottlenecks, no creative compromises. Go to framer.com/ETN. Next on the show, we have Lawrence at Cloudberry VC. I'm going to take this off because I'm
taking off the
boiling.
Synthesia jersey. We've got Lawrence coming in for a second time on the show. General partner at Cloudberry VC. Lawrence, how are we doing?
Good afternoon, chaps. Nice to see you again.
Yeah,
Likewise.
always a pleasure, sir. How you're in Helsinki right now, you mentioned.
Yeah, for actually a Cloudberry delayed launch party, which should be fun.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's all right. Sun is shining in Helsinki, which is rare, right? Most people just come over here for slush in November and it sucks. But look at the sun, beautiful stuff.
Yeah, why specifically in Helsinki? What's
the other two partners? So the Cloudberry is actually a fund based in Helsinki, and the other two partners are Helsinki based. Yeah. So it's between Helsinki and London.
Oh, nice. I'm seeing the background as well. Very a Nordic background. It's almost kind of Dutch, actually. This
Dutch. Yeah, that's a windmill. I don't know, man. This is the office. I didn't pick it. I don't know what to tell you. I probably have. I don't know what I would have actually. Some sci-fi adjacent something, but I don't know. Yeah. It is what it is. It's not my office.
a semiconductor or something.
It's nice.
Yeah, I should have, shouldn't I? Yeah.
Let's get into it. Look, as you know, I messaged you the other day because we were looking at all these headlines and what's going on right now with loads of these stocks that are pumping, all these sort of memory connected chips. We basically just wanted to get a better understanding of things. We've gone through a few of the headlines today, but anything that's connected to this like chip economy right now is booming. Like we saw, there was one article about like a toilet manufacturer in Japan, like their stock price is booming because like one element of their toilet manufacturing process is needed in chips, and then they've just pivoted the whole thing. So yeah, I don't like. Why are we seeing this? What's going on? Like, what are you seeing?
Matt, I mean, honestly, third time. This is sort of the third time in my career I think I've seen it. So one of the first things I did in 2014, I suppose at the time, was like Ethereum and Bitcoin, like super early, right? And saw this same trajectory of like you pivot to crypto and you get this markup. And then AI, right? You do AI in 2023, 24, you got the run up. Now the same thing is happening in semiconductors. It's kind of wild to see it three times. And I'm still honestly always shocked in how slow the stock market is to price in seemingly things I thought, well, this is obvious. And it's not to say that, the stock market is stupid, but there's something wrong in how these things are being priced. Honestly, go back to my Substack, State of the Future. 3 years ago, I said HBM is the bottleneck. 3 years ago. So if anyone wants to trade on my Substack, you're more than welcome, right? I don't, because I don't do day trading. I'm a VC. But point is, this should have already been priced in. I guess what's been surprising is that the demand side continues not to slow down. And there must have been a moment, that everyone knew that we're under capacity. I guess somebody somewhere repriced and realized this thing isn't slowing down, and everything's been repriced now.
Yeah, we've seen like a lot of like retailer flooding in, like the GME crowd. I think Wall Street Bets are now seeing this as like a new sort of core runner. I'm not sure how much like retail can move markets, to be honest. Like, but Yeah, I can see that just popping off in all of the Reddit forums right now.
Yeah, I mean, with memory, there's only three. Like HBM is made by Samsung, SK Hynix, and Micron, and Micron's really the only one that's US you have exposure to. And they're the only ones that make HBM at the scale needed. So like, there's not that much. I mean, sure, you could do second order trading and say, well, if HBM is the bottleneck, what do all the HBM providers need? And you can say ASML tools, or you could say TSMC for the logic dies. So there are other trades around it, but really it's a highly concentrated market because memory is brutal. So like, the one thing to say is there's only three makers, not for any structural reasons, but because there were memory wars. They were called the DRAM wars. And it's such a brutal market with brutal margins. It's very, very cyclical. You always get the boom and bust of demand, of like overcapacity, and then prices fall and boom and bust. So that's sort of why we have three now. And we'll see if we're going through the same thing with HBM now in terms of the overcapacity and then the subsequent price declines. Yeah, it's a tough bet. I don't know. I have a view, but I'm not a day trader.
No, I mean, nor I. I'm a FOMO trader, so historically performed very badly. But they're always chasing those things. It's probably not the best idea. But every time I checked it, it was just like another 100, which is crazy. But when you and I were speaking yesterday, you mentioned this sort of memory logic combo, saying that this could be like the next run up. Could you maybe give a bit of flavor as to what this is and what you're referring to?
Yeah, right. So the main problem, HBM is used because you need extreme throughput for training, for AI training, predominantly. And we're seeing a mix of AI go from training to inference, right? And within inference, there's two sort of types of inference. There's pre-fill, which you do for the entire prompt. And then there's decode, which you basically have to fetch weights constantly. Anyway, the point being that pre-fill is compute bound. So just throw more compute at it, and HBM is fine. But this pre-fill, you don't necessarily need such high throughput. So there's an actual counter bet, which is to say HBM is seen, I think the current pricing suggests that we're going to continue to need the same level of HBM. I would argue Grok doesn't use HBM, and it was acquired, right, or licensed by NVIDIA. Cerebras, which will do the IPO relatively soon, they don't use HBM either. So you have these two architectures. And from a VC side, seed, pre-seed A, I'm seeing a ton of non-HBM chips. These are effectively saying HBM's too expensive, right? No one can get their hands on it. We need to redesign around HBM. So they do things like stack the memory die directly on logic, or they actually compute directly in memory, so-called in-memory compute. There's a company called D-Matrix. There's a company in the UK called Fractile. There are others that take these alternative approaches. So if I, as a VC, I think, sure, there's capacity challenges right now. HBM's a challenge. Maybe there's some exposure to be done there. But in a 2, 3, 4, 5 year time frame, I think we'll start to see more exotic architectures. And that's maybe where some of the more interesting value bets are.
Really interesting, really cool. You mentioned Fractile there. I know that they had a recent made headlines. This part, not a partnership, but like a deal with Anthropic. It kind of made me think a little bit more broadly about like the UK and I guess like semiconductors in that world. Can you give us a flavour as where does the UK sit in this global supply chain with regards to semis? Like, what's our positioning?
I mean, I think it's far too late for these advanced nodes. So if you want a 2 nanometer or node, which is like the most advanced to tape out the sort of the best chips for NVIDIA and others, it takes 20 years to build out like the talent, the actual cost to build these things. This is why it's in Taiwan and even Global Foundries in Germany, in Dresden, they have like the largest fab in Europe. And that's not even at the cutting edge. right? Because it's just too expensive now, frankly, and you might want to focus on other areas. So from a UK perspective, I don't think we can or should focus on an NVIDIA killer. But like Fractile, like Lumai actually is another interesting photonic company. Olix raised their 220 million seed round as well. Yeah. These are so two of them are photonic chips, and Fractile does in-memory compute. So I would say from a UK perspective is there's nothing to suggest next year or two we can have leading edge chips, but we are extremely good at design and extremely innovative. We have great R&D, so I think we're going to see really good novel architectures come out of the UK. The big question beyond that is how do we scale them in the UK? Do we have the manufacturing capability to scale them, and do we have the funding to scale chip companies in the UK? That's the sort of a challenge to the government and to investors. We have great investors like Plural, for example, is the one that comes to mind that can help scale some of these big companies. And there are others, but that to me is the problem. It's not talent. It's a pure function of scaling, which is manufacturing and capital. And I think we can solve those problems, but we need to start yesterday.
Yeah. What do you think the key kind of solutions would be then for solving this? Because we've spoken to a lot of people, and capital isn't necessarily a problem. We have the capital; it's just the allocation. And I guess funds like the Soft AI Fund now is a nice push towards that. Obviously, not a huge amount of money in this kind of bubble that we all sit in, but it's a step in the right direction. So, what's your take on that? Do you feel like we're in kind of good hands now in terms of we can look at 10 years and be like, okay, I think we're looking good.
I think honestly, the sheer amount of capital is a challenge. That's just the truth. I mean, we just don't have Stargate not even ambition or even government support. It's just we don't have that sort of capital sitting here in the UK. We don't have the depth of capital. So I wouldn't say we're necessarily in good shape, but it doesn't. What you need to do is a little bit. I mean, this is the VC thinking. VC is a great thing, but I genuinely believe that when you're a politician or you're the BBB or you're a growth stage investor, you think about the next 12, 24 months. You think about what how do we get an NVIDIA killer? Right? But if we have that thinking, we will fail. What we need to think is, okay, in 5 years' time, where does the puck go? In my view, that's probably photonics, photonic chips, photonic interconnects, photonic networking. So I think that's a decent bet. But we need to think, okay, if that's true in 5 years' time, we need to make the investments now in companies and in infrastructure to be at the leading edge in 5 years' time, right? And that requires foresight. Well, that requires, and this is where the government and others aren't so good at it, requires taking a bet. Because I've had these discussions with some people in government, which is to say, well, how sure are you about photonic compute? Yeah. I don't know, I'm a VC. I get 1 out of 20 right, and I've done my job. So I don't know what the probability is, but it's really hard for the government and others to be that risky, frankly. But I do think that the BBB, pension funds, government, others, if we could just dial the risk up a little bit. And we're not so sure, but we have to take bets because we're not leading the world anymore, right? We have to take a bet to catch up. For me, that would be the way I would play this.
Yeah, sure. Really interesting point. Speaking of the Stargate size and scale of things, we saw the Anthropic SpaceX compute deal break yesterday. We were touching on it a little bit. What did you make of this? I thought it was pretty surprising, to be honest.
I still find it weird that you price compute in megawatts. I don't know how that just became a thing. Like people start saying, "Oh, we bought 300 plus megawatts of compute." Yeah. It's weird. It's like so that was the first thing that struck me. Other than that, I mean, SpaceX is IPOing, and now they're a neo cloud. Like nobody else on Earth can do this. Yeah, it's actually wild. Like so, on the first, I was surprised. I was surprised that SpaceX, as we have to call it now, is that close to the frontier that can run Anthropic. So that in the first instance, amazing. Yeah, I think the thing that really surprised me is they've expressed an interest in multiple gigawatts of orbital AI compute. I don't know that. And so I've done the analysis on an orbital AI compute, years ago. As like, is this a viable thing? And you run the numbers, and you say, well, probably not on balance. It doesn't make economic sense. But yet here we are, and Anthropic have expressed an interest. I mean, who knows how much of that is PR and puff? But if there's one company, one person on Earth that can pull this off, to be able to put data centers in space and maybe swallow the costs for a while because they own the actual distribution, literally the rockets. For me, that was the most interesting part of this. I'm not that surprised that Anthropic need more compute capacity or that SpaceX is able to deliver that. I mean, they've been able to deliver Grok, but not a frontier model. So I get that they're amazing at hardware. So the tie-up isn't that surprising. Yeah. But this, I have to take orbital AI compute more seriously than maybe I have in the past. I don't know if it's an opportunity for anyone else other than, frankly, SpaceX and Elon, but I'm definitely going to increase the probability of this being a thing in a way that I sort of may have laughed off a few years ago.
Yeah, that's interesting. Awesome. That's such a cool take. I know we're just coming up to the end. We got about 20 seconds left. Anything coming up that you're excited about? Where can we send people? Any messages for anyone?
Yeah, we'll send them to State of the Future, Substack, obviously, to promo my own Substack, but only so much as I called HBM 3 years ago. I'm making calls. I'm making calls regularly, most of which are wrong. But if you get one right, as I said, that's all you need. So if you want to know what the future will look like in 3 to 5 years with like 5% probability, go there.
Let's go. I'm heading straight there after this, and I'm dumping all my money in your next pick.
Yeah, nice one. All right, cheers. Thanks, lads.
Cheers, dude. Have a good one.
See you soon.
Ciao.
Before we have our next guest on, leave out Data's business banking behind with Airwallex, the all-in-one financial platform built for the pace of modern business. Multi-currency accounts, corporate cards, expense management, online payments, all in one platform. Go to airwallex.com. Now on the show, James Lowe, co-founder
He's back.
of Ethos.
He's back in action. Round. He's back with loads of money. Let's go.
In the boardroom.
He's in the boardroom as well.
Hey guys, great to be back. How are you doing?
What's going on,
Is this the new office? You're not in that small little like.
We're upgrading.
We went to the other day.
we have recently moved offices, but I'm in Andreessen's office in New York today. So
let's go, man. Tell us about the news. We've been seeing it everywhere. The numbers on X are going crazy. Last time I checked, it was like I can't remember. It's something nuts, insane numbers on the launch. Like over 300k impressions, like organically, which is insane. Tell us about what's happening. How has the past few days been? How has the launch been? Tell us about the round, the people. Give us everything.
Yeah, it's been amazing. I mean, we just raised a Series A led by Andreessen Horowitz. It's a $22.75 million round. Obviously, our first believers, General Catalyst, also doubled down. We've got some new joiners like Evantic, like Matt Miller, XTX Ventures, Alex Gurko, and Common Magic, one of our first believers, like Sour Drinkwater, and amazing investors as well. So just like an incredible group of investors doubling down and joining us on the mission. And as you know, Ethos matches people to economic opportunities with AI. And the last 4 months has just been incredible, right? We now have 35,000 experts joining every single week. That number was actually 14,000 when we raised the round, and it's now 35,000 every week. As of yesterday, it's gone even crazier. Revenue-wise, in the first 5 days of May, we've actually made more money than the last month combined. We're on track to like 8-figure annual revenue. Like it's incredible. So yeah, just like going crazy, and we're super excited.
Insane. This is one of the hardest updates we've had from like a returning guest. Like this is by far the maddest returning update we've had. Let's talk about those numbers for a little bit more. So 35,000 additions a week. I'm assuming that number is climbing at an insane rate given post launch. Anything else you can share from the data side? Like how are all the KPIs looking? Like is this thing just taking off? Like what are we seeing?
Yeah, it's taking off massively. Obviously, with even on that side alone, like of the number of people joining every week, in a month that number has pretty much tripled, right? So it's increased massively.
Wow.
In terms of the number of experts who are earning on the platform, that number has six-folded in the last month as well, right? So there's just more and more experts making money on the platform. Our top earners are making roughly $10,000 a month at the moment. The average earner makes roughly $5,000 or above, right? So it's a lot of money for people, and it's an incredible way to get experts paid. What's most interesting to me is that these are experts that span a very, very wide variety. Right? So you've got people who are lawyers and medical doctors and salespeople and bankers and consultants, of course. But you've also got, nursing practitioners, you've got electricians, you've got plumbers, you've got just a very, very wide, spectrum of occupations. And that's what we're most excited about. We want to build a human network where everybody can access economic opportunity. Right? That's the big opportunity here.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, because so I read Anish's post that he did on you guys, quote tweeting the launch, and he said this sets up Ethos to build the intermediary for all forms of finding work and contributing knowledge. And I really love that. That's a great kind of like sentence. What's the what do you see as the kind of the big picture move as Ethos becoming this, as you mentioned, kind of the network for work, basically?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the way we see the world right now is, the vast majority of people study for 20 years, work for 40 years in some corporate job they hate, and then spend 20 years slowly dying in retirement, right? Sure. And that's really horrendous. And the way we match to opportunities is through these like paper CVs that don't represent who we are at all. Based on our job titles and companies. And some recruiter reads it for like 3 minutes and then decides whether we're good enough to qualify to the next round. If we project 100 years, we're probably gonna look back at this and be like, this is completely crazy, right? Like how many people's lives have we wasted in this process? And so we believe we could solve this by having a personal AI agent that deeply understands you, right? Your expertise, your workflows, your aspirations, your potential. And if that agent also has understanding of the economic opportunities that exist out there, all the way from something as simple as an expert call, a market research survey, all the way to full-time roles, then that agent can truly matchmake you to opportunities way more efficiently and more powerfully than any existing solution can. And to us, it's not just about job matching, it's actually just about the full spectrum of economic opportunities available, right? And so, so we think that's the future, and we're going to go build it.
Yeah, love it.
Super exciting one.
Do you see some of the users almost like using Ethos as like a platform to like find their purpose, I guess, like find like, using the agent to figure out, I have done this in the past, and almost like uncovering like, this is the direction that I should be moving in terms of the way that I work, because that's just naturally how I've done it, but I haven't seen that before. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's a super interesting angle, right? So today it starts at a very simple level, which is, my fiance, for example, at the moment is like, imagining like different roles that could happen for her. And when you look at, oh, wow, this is a role that's interesting to me. Like I'm looking for a fund that invests in this type of brand. We could uncover the types of companies that fit that type of, description.
Interesting. Wow.
But then when you go deeper, on the super long term, what this could become, what is very interesting with AI is that people find that they could, almost be truthful to AI in a way that they can't be to a real human, in that you take away a lot of the social inhibitions that arrive. And AI can dig into your past, your expertise. It has understanding of economic opportunities that you might have no context about. And it's able to then figure out, oh, wow, what does this person have the potential to become in the future? And what are people like this person who are a few steps ahead? What are the types of steps they have taken that have brought them forward? And how could we refer to that and bring you on those same paths as well, right? And so there's a big possibility here of AI really uncovering like big opportunities for people over time.
Yeah, sure.
Really exciting.
And then in terms of like, we've spoken about the numbers just kind of always going up and to the right. What's the main bottleneck that you guys are, working and focusing on right away?
Yeah. So, at one point last month before we raised the round, there was because we pay out experts on one end and the clients pay us later, we actually had a moment where it was like, our revenue is growing so fast, we're going to run out of cash. it's like one of those only startup sentences you can have, right? And so, of course, with the new round, that has stabilized and it's fantastic and it's great for us. Now, the most important thing is we need to scale up our operational capacity to be able to manage all of the client demand that's coming in, so that we can, diversify the sets of opportunities available. And we're, of course, also just going, way, way wider into the opportunities, right? So we're working with some of the hottest startups to offer their full-time roles on the platform to, all these amazing people that are already there. We're working with, consultancies, hedge funds, private equity funds to offer market research studies at scale on this platform as well. So there's so many like very interesting verticals that we can now, aggressively go tackle as a result.
And then those, go on.
I was going to say, let's talk about that for a second. That customer trends that you're seeing, where seems to be the most like popular sort of like dense like industry or category? Like I know when we spoke last time when we were hanging out in King's Cross, there was talk of these particular like consultancy firms or hedge funds. Are you seeing any new trends, anything that interests you? Like where seems to be the core focus?
Yeah, so it's actually very interesting that, of course, like the foundational AI models are driving a lot of the demand for sourcing experts at scale. What's particularly interesting what they're doing is that they are mapping on almost every economically valuable profession, right? And so we've gone from purely professional services, things like legal and sales and banking and consulting, to things like creative artists and musicians, and all the way to the skilled trades for electricians and plumbers. Now, understandably, these are industries where, there's been a lot of AI anxiety about like job loss, like what's actually going to happen. We think of it very differently, where we're basically making the positive case here of you can make a ton of income just from providing like new bespoke data to help these AI models go train themselves like at scale in music, in plumbing, in electricians, and in like robotics for these areas, all the way to professional services. But at the same time, in the process of doing that, we can truly understand what you're really good at and actually match you to real paid opportunities from other human clients at scale as well, right? And what's fascinating is if you think about finding the right plumber for what you're looking for, or finding the right electrician for what you're looking for, or finding the right freelancer in the creative industries for what you're doing. In all those areas, today, it's incredibly manual, and there's no good way to search for the exact right person, whether it's the right equipment that they work with or the right creatives that they work with. And that's what we see a massive opportunity for AI to disrupt as well, in addition to what we're strong on in professional services.
Yeah. I want to ask maybe a fun one, but have you seen anyone replace their full-time income and their full-time job with Ethos yet? Have you seen someone?
We actually have.
Really?
We have. We actually have more than a dozen people who have done that. They're making more than $10,000 a month.
And they're like, don't need a job anymore.
Yeah. So in many cases, things have happened to them where, they might have gone on maternity leave and they find it, very, very difficult to come back and regain their client base that they lost when they were out.
Sure.
And now suddenly they could work on this job and they're making more than they did in their old job, right? So it's quite astonishing. And of course they could, even go from like something more like active income where you're working on, a project with an AI lab and you're trying to, do like tasks and rubrics and stuff like this, all the way to, writing evals into a data set that we sell to vertical AI companies. And you can earn licensing income from that basically perpetually, right? So it becomes a source of passive income for you once you've written the evals. And so it's this incredible way of just structuring what is in your head into new forms of income that didn't exist before.
Yeah. When are you guys going to set up a Twitter account?
Oh man, we're so bad at this. We got to do this. Daniel obviously has become like an X-star now. Like Daniel yesterday, like people were posting memes of his head versus Mark Andreessen's head, and it was just like that's like bro just funded himself type situation, right? So Daniel's a mega star. So we're gonna keep growing Daniel's account, I think. And we're definitely going to set up something in the next
that's so funny. I can't believe that. That's so funny. Let's talk a little bit more about the conversation sort of like about the raise. Like what was the appetite from this? You've got a star-studded lineup. Talk to us a little bit like how did these conversations start? What was, some cool highlights of working with these great companies. Tell us a little bit about that and the cap table.
Yeah, we got very, very lucky that the round happened very, very quickly. The conversations pretty much all happened in a week and a half or so, right? So it was very, very fast. We got inbound interest, and then it turned into a pretty hot competitive situation. But when we think about it, I often think about fundraising as like a matching process, not an assessment process. And so a lot of this is, how do we find investors who are true believers in the idea from the beginning? With Andreessen, I think what's very fascinating is they've always been advocates for an abundant human future. Obviously, like Mark and Ben have been writing for a long time about, why the job loss crisis and job loss anxiety is actually not real. Anish himself has been a massive advocate for an abundant future where humans can be more creative with AI. And so, the moment we met, it was just like, yes, we are completely vision aligned. It's so obvious this company needs to continue to grow and become that infrastructure. And so it was like an instant connection, right? We're just like, yes. And of course, at the same time, like General Catalyst, our first believers, like, Jeanette literally invested in us from day one when this was literally an idea on paper. But Jeanette has been arguing for, the value for AI all across Europe. She's the chair of EU AI Champions Act. She's the person driving tons of this across Europe. And so we're so lucky to have both Anish and Jeanette on our board. And of course, these amazing, amazing investors across, Matt Miller with his Legends community, bringing all these people to showcase human greatness in every area of expertise, right? XTX showcasing why this has enormous value in investment research, right? So Common Magic, community at their core, right? Sour Drinkwater being one of the most important investors to us. So we talk to her literally every day. And so just an incredible group of investors who are true believers in the idea.
Yeah, you need you need socials so you can push this message, because A16Z are obviously doing an incredible job of pushing their message and abundance and all of that kind of stuff, right? And like, I think it's such a beautiful message, and you guys should kind of adopt that and go and push it yourselves.
we can run we can run the Twitter account for you guys. Just outsource it to us. We'll just take 5%.
I am literally going to take you up on that. Like, this is happening. So there's going to be a joint Ethos ETN account. That's totally happening.
We'd love to do that, dude. So we got about a minute left. What are you just most excited about coming up in the future? Obviously, you've got the money now. You told us how it's going to be deployed.
What does your day look like?
Yeah. Give us that. Actually, that's a better one.
My day looks like 24/7 servicing our clients and answering all their questions on Slack, while also like interviewing new special projects lead to join the team, and at the same time talking to the experts and figuring out what new opportunities would make sense for them. It is basically constantly talking, which is, I guess, the only thing I'm good at. So here we are. But one last message is basically this: like, we're in this super cynical societal moment where people are really worried about job loss. People think that AI is going to replace their jobs. This is not going to happen. Right? Look at every software engineer that we know, how much more work they're doing, how much more creativeness they're actually getting into. We have the opportunity to use AI to match people to more economic opportunities than ever before. And we've got to go pursue it. But it starts with everyone believing that that's possible. Right? We've got to do it together.
Such a good message, man. Let's go. Man. Thank you so much for joining us, James. It's always a pleasure. We love to hang out with you. Congrats on the news. Congrats on the cash. And keep us posted.
Always a pleasure, man. All right. See you guys. Great to see you.
Have a good one. Thanks. See ya. Well, legend. We love James.
Indeed.
Up next, we've got the co-founder and CEO of QuantWare, Matthijs. I butchered the second name pronunciation on the first run of the show. I'm going to give it another go, but we have him in here in the studio. Rijlaarsdam. Rijlaarsdam. Sorry, dude.
Good to be here, guys. Nice to meet you.
No, it's so good to have you on, dude. You've got some crazy news as well to share. Maybe I was going to intro it, but you just share this amazing news, this amazing Series B. Do you want to just start and intro yourself and what this amazing news is?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Matt. I'm CEO of QuantWare. We're a company that makes scaling technologies for quantum processors, something we call VIO, for vertical I/O. Basically, what it allows us to do is make chips that in certain applications, like drug discovery or new batteries, have more compute power than all of the classical computers in the world combined. And so we just raised a $178 million Series B to kind of take that concept and scale it up to an industrial scale.
Let's go, dude. That's wow. Like, what's the appetite for this is huge. What an incredible milestone for you. What's it been like the past few days, bringing on that size of capital, deploying it? It must have been super busy.
It's been quite busy. Yeah, it's been, but also a lot of fun. I mean, it's it's just such an exciting time in our company because we now really get to take the thing that we've worked on for basically more than a decade. Mm-hmm. And make it much larger. Make it have it really start having an impact on the world.
Yeah.
Amazing,
wow, insane. Okay, so let's get into a few of the questions that we've got. Your opening statement there, right? So like by 2028, for many applications, a single QuantWare chip will have more compute power than all the classical computers in the world. Can you talk to us about this? Unpack this. This is a crazy statement. I love it.
Yeah, let me nuance your statement a little bit there. So by 2028, we are going to we're going to be shipping 10,000 qubit quantum processors. Whether those will be more powerful than all the classical computers combined in certain applications, jury's still out. But if not those, then the generation thereafter. It is very, this moment is now so close that you can just see massive momentum in the space. And it's much more about, what we're doing with this round. It's much more about, how we're going to make many of those, right? Like how we're going to make this at scale. Because the moment you can do that, it's about how quickly can I scale production.
Yeah. Interesting. Thoughts on breaking news from yesterday? We were chatting about it earlier, but this Anthropic xAI, SpaceX AI now, I guess, because they've rebranded and combined them. Any thoughts on that? Like, what did you think about? We were just chatting earlier with another GP from Cloudberry VC who do like semis. And yeah, I think the big consensus is like surprised, not confused, but a bit like, okay, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, so I think what it shows is that compute is the thing that it's the most, let's say, sought after commodity, and it means that demand right now is so high that you just can't build a data center anymore, right? Like everyone's running into power issues, into chip shortages, et cetera, et cetera. And so, that's of course, why VIO and the technology that we make, we think is gonna be extremely important because it provides exponentially more compute per watt, right? Like so you can build much more powerful data centers with the same amount of electricity, and so that that market use and that impact is going to be massive.
Yeah. I love that. 'Cause we've had multiple different approaches on the show. Just that concern the compute constraint world. Is it energy bottlenecks that are tied towards that? Is it planning permission for new energy capable, like production? We have to go to space because it takes 10 to 15 years to get planning permission. But you're saying like, well, let's just make them a lot more efficient, which is really cool. Like, what do you think about these like three opposing views? Like, do you think we can have data centers in space? Is this a likely thing? Is your avenue? I'm guessing you're probably biased to it. Obviously, it's better, but yeah, maybe a taste of these other these methods.
So I don't think they're opposing, right? Like I think data centers in space will be a thing at some point in the future. But humanity is always going to want exponentially more compute, right? Like it's been going up basically, since for more than a century. And that's not going to change. And so it's really important that we do all of the above. And quantum computing just fits into that, right? It's not going to replace classical computes, but it is going to unlock new applications and much more efficient compute.
Yeah. That's really cool. And compute in general, let's talk about, this was Larry Fink's comment recently, and that it would become a tradable asset. I can't remember where I saw that. I think it was just floating around on X, but it went viral. There was a lot of discussion around it. Do you have a take on this? Like, will this become an asset class? Is there just too much money and focus on this thing right now for it not to be? Yeah, what are your thoughts?
I mean, it will totally be an asset class, and so I think tokens or computer, whatever way you measure it. Again, it's one of the most sought after commodities right now, right? Like it's a new oil, and I do think that Fink's statement was around the futures, like that there will be futures on this commodity. I think one thing that is very important to kind of think about then is the disruption potential, because it is different than oil in the sense that if there's an invention that provides exponentially more compute, like quantum computers, in certain applications, then then all of a sudden, if that's there, like in a one inflection point, then all of a sudden those futures will need to, if it's not priced in, they will be disrupted. And so I do think it's very important that the market, if once those assets are there, that the market prices, quantum computing's coming disruption in, because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Yeah, it's a certainty, right? Yeah.
Yes, and the market needs to price that in.
Yeah. What happens if it doesn't?
Yeah, so then I think there will be a big impact, right? Like it's we're discovering more and more applications for quantum computers, and if the systems are there, and then a new application is discovered, there's potential for disruption there. But it goes, of course, for every new technology, right? Like it's the same with AI. it's just, I think it's important for us as, companies on the forefront of the industry to talk about that openly. Because it's going to be a major shift in how humanity does compute.
Yeah. Really cool. Let's talk about QuantWare for a bit. Focus back onto that. So you've raised this Series B. What is the plan with the money? How do you think you're going to be deploying it? What do the next sort of 6 months look like? Give us a refresher.
So, for myself and the team, the next 6 months are going to be, being strapped to a rocket ship. What we are doing with this round is we're taking all the progress that we made in making this technology. We can make, individual VIO modules now. You can go to our website, you can buy them, we ship them to you. We're taking that technology that we've developed. We're building what we call Kilo Fab, which is a production facility to make many of those with high yields online by the end of this year. And so we're really just 20xing our production capacity, really taking what we've developed from the lab and taking it to industrial production. And so that, that's the next step we're making with this. And it's a major shift for us as a company, but also for the industry, right? It's going from this promise that's always 10 years away to really, okay, how we're gonna make sure that this really gets into data centers very soon.
Yeah. And because that's a real shift, right? You mentioned obviously like the industry is now shifting because it's gone from the research to now like implementation of this technology. How does that kind of fundamentally change the economics of compute, right? How do people now think about, do they think in a longer time horizon? Are they thinking we need to like secure compute faster? Like how does it just change the whole dynamic around compute?
So, I think, you mentioned the industry is making a shift. I think we are really quite at the forefront of that. We were the first to provide commercially available quantum processors to customers in 20 countries. So we're now starting to push that trend. As it comes to compute, again, you can see it now, right? People are investing hundreds of billions a year into building data centers, but they're not getting built as quickly as everyone needs them to. And so, this just feeds right into that. And we expect to see major shifts over the next few years as these large-scale quantum processors become available at scale, which is different from doing it once in the lab. We expect major shifts and much more forward-looking investments into the next generation of compute.
Yeah. But the application is insane. Like we were even reporting the other day, like I think there was a piece about Meta who were they're going so far downstream that they're actually they're hiring for like fiber, like data center manufacturers, but like the physical employees to like literally maintain them and build them. Like they're going so far down that it's not even just like, yes, we want to manufacture these, but we're also hiring for people to run them. We're training people without like a background in this to be good at this. Like I guess that's maybe like an example, I guess, of just how important and how sort of maybe compute deficient a lot of these larger companies are, right?
I think that's right. You can just see it across the semiconductor supply chain. And so, that's why we think also Kilo Fab will be a really important bit of the global quantum compute supply chain.
Yeah, I can imagine. Really cool. Do you have a take on what we're seeing at the moment? We were discussing it earlier, just in terms of like the memory stock craze. Like we've seen a lot of these stocks like fly up. SanDisk comes to mind. Samsung we were reporting on earlier. Like, any thoughts here? Like this to me is bonkers. Was like we're talking like thousands of % in 2 months, like maybe less.
Yeah, again, I think it shows the demand for compute. And it's just, the entire value chain is kind of bursting at the seams because of it. And you can see it with this round, right? With Intel joining, et cetera, you can just see that all of these players are also looking further and further out at, what will be the next wave that really, unlocks the next wave of compute. And again, it's whether it's a memory or these data centers that are getting delayed being built, data centers in space. Everyone is looking for more and more compute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sorry, go on.
I was going to ask, when you started the company, what was the thesis behind it? Because Back then, I guess you obviously were more in tune with the industry than I am. But like back then, what was the thesis? What did people think was going to happen? Did people think we were going to get constrained by compute, or what was the bet when you were starting it?
So quantum computers unlock things that largest classical computers in the world cannot calculate, and so that's always been the driver of the industry. That hasn't changed. That's still the driver. And then I think for us as a company, what we realized right from the start is that in order to then deliver on that at scale, you need to focus and you need to specialize. And so we don't build full stack quantum computers, which was a completely new business model in the space. First commercial supplier of quantum processors. We deliver VIO to the entire industry. We want whether it's processors or foundry services or VIO services where we package the chips of third parties. With this idea that if you can get everyone to scale on VIO, then you can deliver a better product, and that will lift up the entire industry. You need to do that to bring down costs. And so that's the play we've made, and I think it's now clearly starting to pay off, right? Like it's clearly true that the same laws of economics that apply in the semiconductor space apply in the quantum space.
Definitely. Yeah, it must be a really, really exciting time. We've just got about 20 seconds left. Anything, anywhere we can send people, website or anything like what are you excited about? Like a shill, if you will,
Well, if you're interested in learning more, encourage you to go to QuantWare.com. We have published our white paper today, and there's some more information on how VIO works. And of course, we're hiring. So please check out the career page as well.
Let's go, dude. Cool. Well, look, thanks for joining us. It's been a pleasure. I would love to have you back on as well for any more updates. Sounds like you guys are just rocking it. So congratulations on the round.
Will be my pleasure.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks a lot.
Cheers, guys.
Good stuff. See you later.
See you soon.
Ciao, ciao.
That is Thursday. Leave Updated Business Banking Behind with Airwallex, the all-in-one financial platform built for the pace of modern business, multi-currency accounts, corporate cards, expense management, online payments, all in one platform. Go to airwallex.com. That is the show. We will see